Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Hope you guys are having a good afternoon. Welcome Bobby Boom, welcome Marcus, welcome JWL. All right, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. So I saw that the devs are doing a Q&A on their Discord in about 10 minutes. So it's going to be pretty soon. So I want to listen in on that and kind of get an idea of what the devs are currently working on so we can see what we can kind of look at as far as the future of Legacy. That is going to be the primary focus, at least for the start of today's stream. And then I'll kind of go from there. FYI, fellas, I have been considering delving into some other games. Right now, we're kind of waiting for... at least, I guess I should say not we. I am waiting for some Dark and Darker patches. And I'm also waiting for Legacy patches. In the midst of waiting for... pretty much just waiting for all these other games to come out. Midnight Walkers, Mistfall, Vault Breakers, whatever else is coming out. I'm sure there's more. Hunger is another one that's on my list. And again, I'm sure there's more games. So I've been kind of looking into maybe doing like some variety, like even more variety type streaming, just kind of to tide me over while I'm waiting for these updates. I'm not entirely sure yet, but just an FYI. That is what I'm currently looking into. Funny enough, Slay the Spire is a game that I've been wanting to get into, but never played it. So I thought about maybe streaming that, but I know it's very outside of my realm of games. Another game was Darkest Dungeon. Was a game that I used to play a long time ago that I thought was fun, that I thought about replaying through. I never beat it, but I thought it was fun. That's kind of where I'm sitting at. Hey Lizard King, hey Lance, hey ZGB, hey Maddie. Dad patches tomorrow. Is it tomorrow for sure? I don't know if we know 100%, do we? I don't know if we know like 100% when the patch is, but it should be at least somewhat soon, right? Something like that. Why are we playing Farming Simulator 2016? JWL, that is a crazy random thing to ask me. Currently no, but currently no. Wonder if it'll address the main problems. For Dark and Darker. Well, shit, I hope it does. That would be nice if it did. Oh, guys, look, I organized my stash. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Organized. You'll never see my stash this clean again. I don't think it can get any better than this. This is like, yeah, this is perfect. It'll never be better. Even my alt characters are clean. No gear. All blues. And my priest has, what does she have? Like my, like the crafting stuff. So, yeah, we'll see how long it takes for you to mess it up again, but I at least got that done, so that's cool. Hey, Adam, Slay the Spire is pretty fun, but it gets repetitive pretty fast. You think so? I've seen people with hundreds of hours in Slay the Spire that seem to, like, enjoy it a lot, so I don't know. I guess maybe it's a matter of opinion, probably. Lance, is that true? Did Grayson say this week for sure for a patch? That would be cool. I would like to see a patch come through for Dark and Darker that is, is at least, good moving forward. I've been waiting for a good patch for Dad to, like, bring me back, but I feel like they've barely been patching the game over, like, I think the game has barely gotten any patches in, like, over a month and a half. They got one, but it was a pretty nothing burger patch. I mean, it buffed, like, artifacts, but that's just some, like, number tweaking. I don't really care too much about that. So, yeah, I feel like we've just been kind of, like, waiting for something to happen for a while now. So hopefully it's something soon. Hey, Priest. Priest is a high skill ceiling class that good players can play and do very well with. But if you're not good with Priest, then you struggle quite a bit. That's kind of where I think I am as far as, like, Priest goes. They wanted to slow down the patches to make the quality of patches better. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, Lance. Yeah, I'll believe that they're quality when I see them. We'll see. Hopefully, hopefully that's the case. Hopefully they end up being good. Oh, here, you know what? I'll even share the link. If you guys want to join the dev talk outside of my stream, this is where it's gonna be. Hey, Kawa, welcome. Good to see you. I mean, if Iron Base took basically a month and a half off patches, I would hope that the patch coming out is going to be of some absurdly high quality. I hope that's the case. Because I really don't count the last patch too much. I mean, what did it even do? It buffed some artifact weapons, like the numbers. It was nothing too crazy or anything. So I'm kind of hard-pressed to really call the last... Like, I'm kind of hard-pressed to say they patched anything in the last month. So, hopefully the patch is good. And they buff Panther. I mean, yeah. I'm not too happy about the Panther buffs. Yeah, I just added the dev talk there just if you want to watch it with or without me. It's up to you. I was gonna watch it anyway, so I figured I would just stream it. I was gonna watch it off stream. But I don't know, I was already sitting here anyway, so I figured, whatever. Might as well just stream it and talk with you guys about it. I'm not doing anything else. I had just gotten... I was busy yesterday, and I had just gotten home and kind of situated to do this. Kind of just good timing. So what do you... Wait, so what do you do now that you are pretty much perma-soft capped in this game? Oh, you mean for Legacy? Honestly, I'm kind of... You're not far off base, Ultra. I am pretty much to the point where I feel like I'm just waiting for updates. Because you're right. I feel like I'm kind of soft capped in this game. I'm not running around in like blues, purples, and legendaries, so I guess technically I'm not soft cap maxed. But as far as gameplay goes, I feel like I've experienced everything in this game that the game has to offer for solo players. The only thing that I haven't done is the main boss, and primarily that's because everyone just cheeses him or camps him, so I just don't bother. But outside of that, like gameplay wise, I've experienced every other mini boss. You know, I've gone to every location. I've done like everything that I can think of. You know, so like I am at the point where I'm not really sure exactly what to do. Which is why I said that I am in the midst, maybe you weren't here when I said it, Ultra. I said that I'm in the midst of possibly looking into doing some other types of streams gameplay-wise, because I'm waiting for maybe a Dark and Darker patch to come through. I've been saying that for like a month now. Legacy patch maybe fixes some balancing or does anything else that makes the game at least a little bit more fun to play. But I am considering playing some other stuff. Slay the Spire, Darkest Dungeon was on my list of games I was thinking about playing, so I thought about maybe streaming those. I've also been playing Balatro a little bit, which is pretty fun. So we'll see. Maybe I'll end up streaming those, maybe not. I'm not sure, but that's kind of my current thought process, at least. Hey, Zale, yeah, it's good to see you, man. Hey, Brandon, welcome, man. Good to see you. All the homies hate Panther buffs? Yeah, because they gave Panther Cutthroat. It's awful. What the hell were they thinking? What were they thinking, Lance? I'm low-key out of content? Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, outside of PvP, which right now I think the PvP is in a very frustrating spot, because you have hunters spamming Cyclone, and special arrows that are infinite capacity, so it's just really miserable to fight. And then you have warriors basically cheating with the double whirlwind axe or the weapon swap for double damage. There's like a bunch of other exploits. So like the PvP is not even particularly enjoyable right now because there's so many things that the devs need to patch/fix to make the game feel more fair and balanced. So it's like, okay, well, I'm out of content. The PvP's like not particularly in a great spot, which I'm hoping they'll address today during the dev Q&A. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as far as that goes. You've been playing The Binding of Isaac? That game was fun. I played that a long time ago. Where did I get that amount of iron from? From the blood of my enemies and disenchanting their greens. Are you ready for the dev talk? The game is slowly losing players. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I think the player count has dropped down to like below the 1,000 point. I was pretty okay with like the total player count for a while. But yeah, it's definitely been falling. Can't really deny that. Yeah, the Q&A is about to start. I'm on Discord right now. You know what, here, I'm gonna take off the game. And I'm gonna show you my screen real quick. So you can see that I'm not like just sitting in game. I had the game up because I was gonna do some stash stuff. But yeah, I am waiting for the thing to pop up. So just give me a second. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna pull up. Here, give me a second. I'm gonna do my Discord app because I don't know why. Sometimes the browser version of Discord acts up and it just doesn't always work. It works kind of funny sometimes. Let me use the browser. Let me use that version instead. Okay, there we go. So yeah, as soon as this event starts, we'll hop in and we'll hear what they have to say about the future of the game. Hopefully, it ends up being informative if we can get some like good info. Yeah, Slay the Spire and Balatro are both fun games. I know it's like very outside of the realm of games I normally play, but I feel kind of burned out. You know, I'm burned out on Dark and Darker, and Legacy I've kind of just done all the I mean, keep in mind I have 120 hours on Legacy, and for an early access title like this, that is a lot of time to invest in a game like this. That is a lot of hours for a game that is as limited content as Legacy currently is. That's a lot, man. That is a lot. So, I don't know. I'm just waiting for this to start. At night when you played, there was 300. Wait, really? It dropped down to 300 players? That is actually kind of alarmingly low. I'm usually pretty oh, okay, never mind. Talk about it later. All right, and I have my desktop audio on, so you guys should be able to hear. Let me know if there's any audio issues when we start. If you can't hear them, if they're too low, if they're too high, if my camera's blocking anything, whatever. If there's any issues, let me know, and I can fix it early before we like get into it. So just let me know. Max 5 vendors, I'm at like level 4 or 5 for most of them, and then I'm at 7 for the Taylor. Can you guys hear him? Oh, I might have to fix the audio again.
Find this stage. We have so many channels.
Hold up. Here, I'll fix it.
Hello. I'm wearing my good t-shirt today. How you guys doing? I do have blinds.
Don't worry, guys. I'm working
Yep.
on this.
Look at that. No more cardboard in the window.
Can you
Oh, we
guys hear
got
him
some
now?
people wanting to
Are we
join
good?
on stage already. I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know what today's about. I know Chris wants to have like a big Q&A
You can hear?
sessions. I know you guys have a
Okay,
lot of
good.
questions, so I think it's gonna be like a free-for-all. Good to see you too, everybody. Hope you guys are having fun with the game. Do not ask questions. You can ask questions. I'm here to stall. I'm doing the stream. I'm doing a streamer job right now. I'm just stalling.
if you guys in chat
Remove
have any
inverted
questions
pentagrams.
that
What
you
are you
want
talking
me
about?
to put into the
My day
Discord
is
as
going
well,
great.
well, let me
We're
know. I can
having
do
a
that. Can I
plumber
full
come
screen
over
it?
today because apparently we
Yes.
just this is kind of unrelated to the whole
Can I
game
full screen it?
subject, but I just moved into this house and apparently the previous
Is that
tenants
better?
they fixed the plumbing by duct taping it. So we have duct tape pipes. And yeah, that was a bad idea. So yep.
Yes, I'll tell you.
So when we took a shower, up after a couple of showers, it kind of gave up. So we had like a massive flood. That was great. American, actually, it's Canada. Yeah, but hey, that's not a big problem because we just don't shower around here. Just don't wash. More time to play the game. Duct tape fixes everything. I think the problem was they just didn't use enough duct tape. They probably they
Maddie, they
probably should have
might
just
talk
used
about
more.
console. We
You
should
want the
hold
shirt?
off on that.
This is an old.
Because
Oh
it
my
might be
god, this is an
something they talk
old
about,
OG
or it
shirt.
might be like way
I
in the
should have wore
future. I don't
the
know
other
about
one, the
that.
new one. Did you upgrade your shower to level 6? Ah, no. I don't need that module. That's a waste. That's a waste. We don't need that. Fix the Goblin King crate. Wait, which crate is that? The Cribs episode? Oh my god. You don't want to see this is no. Actually, they should make a Cribs version where you see like bad houses. I remember watching Cribs and you just felt bad. You see all these rich people houses like, oh, okay, well, I guess I don't deserve that.
Is his volume
Stop the
okay
boss cheese, extraction
compared to
cheese, and
mine?
item duping. We are aware of all of those three. I don't know exactly what you mean by extraction cheese. There's like a multiple of those. Boss cheese, at least we've kind of like reduced the. It's a little harder I mean, it's not hard. It just takes forever to fight him now. But we are working on that. It's a big fix coming very soon, TM. So and item duping, that's a ongoing battle. Apparently, there's multiple ways. New map coming soon. That's a question for Chris. I know things, but I don't know what I'm not allowed to say, if that makes sense. So
You
with
know,
Visage, you can still get all the key extractions. Can you? Can you still? We fixed.
I wish it's just random stuff. I wish that the Dark and Darker developers would discuss things like this. I wish we would have some kind of open source communication like this where we had people that were able to like ask the developers directly. This is something that I this is something that I like really like that they do.
want to see my dog because everyone's asking where Chris is. I'm stalling. Chris said stall for 5 minutes. Hey, come here. Come here, Jack. Jackie, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. He's camera shy. Come here. Up. 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 Up.
Ah, here's
It's so hot
Chris.
in this room.
He's coming.
Jack, do you want to say hi to the people? Up.
But Notorious has more experience with the communication. Yeah, so
This is up.
Legacy might be a
Come on.
very small game,
Up. Come
but
on.
I will say
Come
the
on.
devs are very good at
Come on.
communication. That is the one thing that I think
Oh, he's a
they are actually
big
very good
dumbass.
at.
There he is.
And we
Oh
also
my
get
god,
to see
he's not happy with
dogs,
this.
so that's pretty
You
great.
gonna go out? Okay, get out. It's way too hot.
Well, not for long. That's a big dog. That is not a
No,
puppy.
you're very happy.
That is a big dog.
I got him all confused. Sorry. How much can I bench? Not much. It's I'm too old for that. I'm like a skeleton in game. I would just shatter if I tried. All right, we stalled for long enough. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Legacies Meet the Devs episode 11. And yeah, we got Chris once again returning for a big round of Q&As. The game's been out for almost a month. Not exactly a month, but it's getting there, right? It's like three weeks. So I know episode 10, my bad, episode 10. We cut that in post. So how's it going, Chris? Welcome. We can't hear
He's not
anything.
talking.
Oh my god.
Beard, they do it with
What about
streamers,
this?
but
Can
they
you hear me
don't
now?
do it with the community
Yep.
like this, where
Okay,
anyone can
perfect.
join.
All right,
It's a big
good.
difference. It shouldn't be just
Yeah,
streamers.
I mean, yeah, we're closing in on like the first month now, so that's really exciting. And yeah, I've been kind of thinking about like this show or the doing the meet the devs and kind of like the format and these sort of things. And I think, it's kind of funny just because most of my career has just been doing um class tuning and balance and these sort of things. I know that's kind of what players care most about. How meet the devs kind of started was like, hey, you get to meet like, the people who make the levels and make people who do the sound and stuff like that. But I do think that generally everybody just cares about like the current state of the game and balance and that sort of stuff, which is totally normal and totally fine. So
That's where I'm
basically
at,
just going to try to
balance wise.
incorporate that to each of these and just kind of talk about each of the classes and that sort of thing. So that is going to be part of the show. Um so yeah, let me just kind of bring it up here. Give me a sec.
Yeah, I
I'll
know
do
last
that.
week they had a little bit of a
Sorry,
PowerPoint
I was
presentation that
scheduling
talked
plumbers.
about like the
Do we
future
have
as
any
far as balance
presentation, or do you want to
goes.
jump straight into Q&A?
No, I have a presentation. Give me one sec
Okay.
though.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. Yeah, let me put myself on busy on Teams so I don't get like bunch
Oh,
of
that's a good call. Very good call.
a bunch
Duos would
of
be great, Dad.
pings
Yeah,
and stuff like
duos would be
that.
fantastic.
And we got slides. What would a episode be without the slides?
hmm Yeah, I do these so fast now. It's like part of my job as CEO is just I'm a master at PowerPoint. That's all I do. Uh, yeah. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Can you see this? Oh, this is week 3. Holy crap! Hold on a second. This is the wrong one.
Oh,
Oh,
wrong
I don't know
slide.
why.
okay. Okay.
We're making too many slides
Actually,
now.
maybe this is the right one. I just call it week 3. It's not week 3 though. Oh, it is early
Well,
access week 3.
it is. Yeah, it is
Never
week
mind.
three.
I freaked out. Let me bring it back. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yeah. So, first of all, I kind of want to talk about like the schedule and like how we're going to be doing updates and like these sort of things. Essentially, we're going to do like immediate fixes for anything like really big issues that pop up, whether it's like a really bad crash or some exploit or some server issue that pops up. Our server team is constantly monitoring the service and constantly doing updates. We don't even report a lot of the updates that we do, although we've been trying to do at least updating the community in the what's server status or the what's new channel, just so that people know, like, hey, if something goes wrong with the server, that's probably why. It's like we're doing some optimization to it. So yeah, we are doing so that is like a constant priority. We're constantly doing that. And then we're also doing like hotfixes basically every 2 weeks or so, sometimes even more frequent, just on like class balance, progression tuning, that sort of thing. Generally, on a progression, like on crafting and finding items, we're feeling like in a kind of a good spot with how the game is right now. But if things pop up there, we'll be addressing some stuff. I'll talk about this patch that we're going to be doing later on in the show, with some spoilers there of some itemization tuning that we're going to be doing. But generally,
Okay.
it's kind of settling, I feel like there. On the class front, there's a number of issues that pop up just as the meta develops, as people get more sophisticated with the classes, as people try out and min max different gear sets and stuff like that. Other things pop up, and as you guys like progress through, say the crafting bench over time, that kind of thing. Um, uh, so there is that. And then we have larger content patches that we're going to be putting in, and these will be every few months or so. We're trying to figure out the right cadence for this because it's challenging to do like mid wipe or mid season content updates. Like if you add a whole new lodge module or something, it will just be really disruptive. Basically right now with the game is we're kind of like at season 0, so it is sort of like chaotic, and that's, sorry about that, but it is going to be a little bit like that. But as we mature and grow and we do actual wipes and seasons and stuff like that, we shouldn't do like huge changes mid-season. But anyway, so we got to figure that out of like what a good cadence for that is too. But basically our next larger content patch, which is um, the wizard and a new dungeon map and some other progression content. We're targeting mid-May for that one, and I'll talk about a bit later of like what goes in there. Um, and then I just want to talk about, like I mentioned, like do like this little state of
I
the
told you
classes every
guys,
time
by
we
the way.
do
I told you you're about this
this
stupid.
the show. And I'll go through
Done
each
that 2
class and
days
talk
ago.
about like how we're feeling about each class, things that we're working on tuning or updating. First, we could start with the warrior. The last kind of content patch that or the last bug balance patch that we did, we tuned Death Ball, and we tuned just general the power of the warrior down a bit. I think he's in a better spot for sure right now, but I do think there's some things that are kind of bugs or just not really intentional that we are going to address. One of them is the ear damage buff. So when you bring in ears, when you loot ears, like the kill trophies from players, it gives you a stacking buff. There's one that gives you health, and then there's one that gives you damage. I think Executioner is the damage one, the trait. They're a little too good, and
Yeah.
because originally we weren't quite sure, like how often will players kill each other, how on average, how often will they get ears, these sort of things. um Turns out it's a little more often than we kind of thought, and which is totally fine. It's just that we have to tune this buff, so it's a little too good. And we don't want everybody to have to wear that set piece. It's supposed to be a choice, and so we're going to balance that a little bit. And then the second one is, we did some adjustments to Death Ball, but we also want each of the weapons to feel very distinct and useful. I mean, it's part of the warrior's kit that he could swap weapons, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses. And so we want to make the mace feel a little bit better and make the axe feel like it has an identity.
Oh my god,
Kind of the
please.
intention with each is that
Make
the
the mace
mace
and
and
shield
shield is
not
supposed to be
like
kind
be
of like the
bad
defensive kit,
unless you
like
do like
the
swapping.
um
Would be great.
almost like the sword and board kind of fantasy, right? And so I do think it feels like that in some sense, with you get more block, right? But what if we also did like a trait or something that you get like passive armor when you're in it or something like that to further emphasize that? Or for the axe, we can maybe juice up or make the Q kind of feel different than say the press and hold on the left normal. So these things like this we could improve, I feel like. I also think the early level for the warrior feels he smooths out over time, and he becomes better over time, which is hilarious because it feels so traditional with warriors in every game. But um part of this is because he gets really important traits later on, which is kind of like the for one, the ear damage buff one. Another one is the absorb when you enrage one, etc. So we may like rejigger those where they're at, just so that it smooths out the warrior's experience a little bit better. And then the another one is that we kind of feel so it's not intentional in the game that you hard counter classes or one class just dumpsters on another class, etc. But we do think that the warrior is a little good against the rogue, maybe a little too good. And I know everybody's probably frustrated with rogues and just like good or whatever, but so it is something top of mind. There's a bunch of reasons for this. One is the rogue has no like unstoppable attacks, red attacks that pierce blocks. So warriors who are sophisticated can kind of just like can turtle pretty well. So anyway, we'll look at that. And then he needs like some new abilities. The warrior's probably the least, ironically it's the first class we worked on, but it has like the least number of abilities. Each class should have really like 9, 3 in each category. And so we have some other ideas for this. Maybe I'll pitch some of these in the warrior chat. But I had one idea, which is like if you use like the chain grip and you pull somebody, right? What if he had, and when you do that, there's a trait that anchor where you can anchor them down. But what if you could throw like the anchor itself and then AoE anchor targets or something and stuff like that. So there's a few other ideas that we had for different abilities that what's interesting is we could think about like what are some of the challenges or holes that the warrior has in its gameplay and how to emphasize those through new abilities. That's best way to design the game. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm not sure if I
any thoughts there,
entirely
Andre? I see you
agree that
grinning.
Rogue just gets hard countered by
I'm
Warrior.
looking
If
at
a
the
Rogue
chat.
is
It's funny
good
when
and they
you mention
utilize their
ability like
mobility
that.
correctly,
It's so polarizing.
their
Half
mobility
people
is
say yes,
absolutely
yes,
insane.
AOE chains, and half people are like, oh god, no.
I don't know if I
We're
completely agree to
identifying
that.
warrior mains
I
in
fought
chat.
very good rogues, and
I
they
mean, the
are
goal should
not
be
easy to
like
fight at all.
some are general purpose, like generally good, and others have more niche cases that
Maybe giving rogues
you
more
change up based on
abilities,
like the
but
experience you're
nerfing
doing, whether it's
warrior
like you're
to
queuing
make
with a
it
group or
an
doing
easier
like
matchup
a hard
is not
PvE
the right
run
answer.
or something like
If it's
that.
just adding
So,
new
but yeah,
abilities to rogue, like
these are
that's
just
always
concepts,
fine.
by the way. Anyway, nothing's coming in just yet.
It's
So,
not
all
easy to be good on rogue.
right.
That's
Any more
fair.
thoughts on Warrior
But
before
when
we
you
move
fight
on?
a really good rogue,
And by the way, if
holy
you have
hell is it hard to
questions,
fight them.
keep them, and then at the end we could answer any questions, whether it's on stuff we're talking about on the class, on any of these classes, or anything like that.
Yeah, I've had like 10
Yeah, I think
plus
we can move
minute
on.
fights on warrior
All
versus
right.
rogue
Next up
before.
is
They can go
priest.
they
I
can go
think.
for what feels
Sorry.
like forever.
Yeah, priest. So first thought is that I feel like the priest is a little too generally the ranged right now, kind of a little too weak against the melee. Um, um, Higher tier players do kind of feel like, oh, the priest and the hunter are fine once they get these tools or once they get this like gameplay. Once you know how to
I
play, right?
100% agree
But I
with
think
that.
that is a little too narrow. For example, the priest, like if you just deleted Holy Sparks from the game, I think she'd really struggle. Like, and that's kind of where like the higher tier players who do become sophisticated, like, oh, well, you just got to play Sparks really well. You got to get this build
Yeah.
or that sort of thing.
Top tier priest with
So
Sparks
she's a little too dependent on
is
Holy
actually pretty
Sparks and
good,
some other
but
things in the game,
that
and so
like
we want
new
to like
players are just not gonna be
address
able to do
that.
that at all.
And then in the meantime, also juice her up in other ways so that she's more accessible and more like elegant in terms of the experience that you'll have just generally for a new player against a rogue or getting ganked in solos or something like that. So we have a lot of ideas on how to address that.
Play rogue.
Um, Too early to talk about them, but uh, expect some changes there, and we won't just like nerf Sparks and just not address the other thing. It will all happen in tandem. Um, so there's that. Uh, we know there's a lot of item perk bugs right now with her gear. And so the team has already been working on fixing a lot of those bugs already, have banged a lot of those out. And so we'll continue to fix all of those. We may redesign some of them too. Like, some of them that we thought were cool when we made them, we're like, I don't know anymore. Like maybe they just never really developed like a use for them. For example, one that I don't particularly love is like I think it's the Divinity Helm, which is like uh it changes a gleaming star to like a heal, and then I like the idea. It's just like really narrow, and then when I queue solo I'm like, that's terrible. And anyway, so there's some things that we could tune. And then the last thing is, I think I was looking at all the different weapon kits, and a lot of them just don't have jump attacks or evade attacks. And really, to make all the weapons feel like completely done, they need to have like a full kit. Like they need to have a jump attack, a evade attack, and these other things like that. And so we will be updating some of the priest ones over time. Pretty much all the classes. Um, Pretty much all the classes of just fleshing out the different weapon kits. Ironically, some of the ones that are most furthest along are the recent ones, like Deathball and the Sword and Buckler. They have a lot of different move sets in them. But so anyway, we'll be adding these things to the Scepter and Staff as well, just to make them more different and make them more interesting and have more depth of gameplay.
Yeah, certain weapons definitely feel way better
Yeah,
to
I can
use
add
than others do.
something to the priest.
Yeah.
We also should, and we have talked about taking another look at her skills. Like for instance, some of the
Yeah.
skills in the skill bucket don't seem different enough. Like the mirror one, especially. You have the mirror and the one that just moves forward a little bit, and we are discussing like different kind of variations of that. Maybe the mirror follows you. Maybe it reflects projectiles.
Hmm.
We're just we.
I
I've
don't think the
actually
mirror
seen a lot of
feels very
messages in
good
chat
to me.
saying
Every time I've
people are
tried to use
saying you
mirror
don't
as a
really
priest, I
want to
feel like
press mirror.
it's just a waste of
It's like a
mana and I
button you
should
don't
just
press
use
as
the other
much. So
skills instead.
we are aware of that, and we are talking about changing that, as well as the heavens ward. I think it is the one that moves forward. That one also
Hmm.
has a couple of known issues. Like sometimes it gets stuck in terrain a lot. It doesn't summon. It doesn't spawn sparks every single time. It
Yeah,
has like
mirrors
Hmm.
Seven's
feel
Wrath.
like they're
That's the one.
awful.
Yeah. So we are gonna update some of the skills as well.
Like
Yeah, I've been
minus like
playing
a
with.
third of
There's
your
a lot of
mana.
crazier
Pretty awful.
ideas on the preset. I like to explore with some of her abilities just to make them more interesting and very different. Um, Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But yeah. But anyway, we do agree like some of her abilities too could be updated to make them have better uses and a little more be more interesting. So anyway, that's the priest. Okay. Next one, Rogue. Yeah, so the Rogue again had some tuning in the last hot balance patch, and we tuned down Phantom Dagger and a few different things, and so we feel pretty decent, pretty good about the Rogue right now. That said, I do think they get a little more counter than we'd like against a warrior, and so we are going to look at that as well. And then next is there are some bugs with some of the rogue abilities. So the rogue abilities, this is kind of my fault because I'm like, oh, I just love this idea of Visage or Phantom Veil or Phantom Dagger. They're all like really kind of complicated abilities to engineer. All the engineers just like, oh my god, please. But yeah, they're really cool. It's just sometimes they do bug out, and so we're all working on like bug fixing these and trying to make them work. But bear with us as we work on those. But I do notice like a lot of rogues, got you guys on stream and you play and stuff. I'm like, wow, you guys are so good with this, and it adds a lot of cool skill expression stuff like that. So we want to soldier through it. It's just yeah, there are some bugs here. Um, and then the last one is like little quality of life stuff. Like we did tone down Poison Dart. It was insane. I felt like Poison Dart was like better than the longbow. But we did tone that down, but maybe a little bit too much. And so I know I heard some issues with. I feel like the dart speed is a little too slow. We hear you. And then the last one is invis time. We toned down the invis time on Shroud at least, I think we did, or maybe them all. But yeah. And so one unintentional thing with that is that it created this
Dagger has not been mentioned.
window where the mobs like will re-aggro you because the invis time isn't that long. And so we're gonna look at that again and see maybe we go too far with that. And so we're gonna, probably revert that one. But so, but anyways, so that's kind of on the Rogue. But yeah, if you guys have any more thoughts on the Rogue or issues or things like that, we'll love to hear them. Really happy with actually a lot of the Rogue's kit. They're one of the classes that has 3 good
You go
options, I feel
uninvisible
like,
if you
in
try to
each tier.
pickpocket. Really?
And feeling pretty good about
That's kind of
those. We know like on the daggers, the um spider bite maybe could be improved a little bit, but other than that, yeah, we look forward to hear your thoughts on that. Yeah, I see some thoughts on claws. I do think the claws, the claws have gone through a lot of iteration. Originally, they used to just like add a little bit of buildup, but then we changed it so that it changes all the normals to also do the buildup, which we think feels good. There is some UX UI things with that. Like you don't really know, like you don't really get a lot of feedback when you're when you're doing afflictions on targets, but yeah, so what it does is when you press the claw, it makes all of your normal attacks do build up of that affliction. So really, I haven't seen rogues do this too much, but the disease affliction is incredibly powerful in PvP, especially. It's like half of your stamina. I think it reduces your stamina in half, or it's regen in half, one of them. But yeah, it's pretty gnarly. So yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's
Is it
Rogue.
just me who
And then
thinks
finally,
Rogue is still strong and
the
sees
Hunter.
Rogue still a lot in
We
my
know
opinion?
Cyclone is too good.
Is it
It's
just
like
me?
the uptime on it is
I
too
guess it's
high.
just me.
And so we are going to address that. We'll probably get some sort of
Cyclone is
short
literally
cooldown
insane.
regardless.
That is, it's so
Again, Cyclone has kind of turned into this thing similar to the Priest where it's like um they're dependent on it, and we don't want you to be dependent on one ability. And so we will be addressing the Hunter in different ways. Part of the reason why she uses Cyclone is not so that she could just go through the map like at Mach speed or that sort of thing. It's really just for her survival. And we know like her default survival is a little, not great against melee, especially for new players. So we're going to address that in different ways. One bug right now is that when you air vault, when you disengage, when you kick off a player to get vault backwards, it's supposed to give you immune frames. And right now it doesn't. It's a bug. Same thing with Elven Dance. You're supposed to get immune frames while you do the queue, and so we're going to restore those and add those back.
Oh, I didn't even know
So
that
you'll
was
have immune
supposed to be
frames
a
when you
thing.
air vault, and
had
immune
no
frames
idea.
when you elven dance with the elven bow. And so that will be in the next balance patch. The next thing here is that the arrows are a little clunky. I mean, these are one of the spells that we added at last that we weren't completely done with. Kind of the idea was with the arrows is that so we have these afflictions in the game. There's a fire affliction, there's a frost one, there's going to be more in the future, like a lightning and fire one that
Rise of
the
Phantom.
wizard
I just
has.
spammed Phantom for
And
5 seconds.
the different arrows, elemental arrows,
I don't know anything about that map.
build up some of these afflictions. And so the hunter, one of her strengths actually is that she can apply these afflictions. She has the
Why are we
largest
spamming
variety of
longbow
afflictions
queue?
she can
Did I miss something?
apply. And so that was something we're going to be flushing out over time and juicing up all the arrows. And I know like one
Maybe it's because of
actually
how bad
interesting
it
thing
is.
with the
It
arrows I
is
think is
pretty
kind of
bad.
cool actually that we do like is that you can cue an arrow and then elven dance and it's just kind of homes onto the target. So that is kind of cool. But anyways, we know like these are a little clunky right now and could use some love, and so we are going to work on that. And then another thing is I've been actually playing with this myself in solos is Sentinel Call, the little bird that you summon. We love the idea of like the hunter summoning the bird as like a little pet. It lets you solo like elites and stuff like that. But it's a little clunky. The AI on it is not great. So we're going to work on that. And then I also noticed in chat people talking about the longbow queue. That is another thing I forgot to put up here. We are looking at that too, potentially redesigning it to be something different. Um, don't know what that is just yet. I kind of like how the longbow queue is. I don't hate that ability. It's just a little niche. Anyway, we will look at that as well of improving doing something else for the longbow queue. Yeah, anything else I'm missing here, Andre, or notes in chat?
I will notice that we found a bug on the hunter and the priest only, where if you were in combat, like actively attacking with your weapon, your energy regen was reduced
Oh,
by
yeah,
half. So that's
right.
why maybe for a hunter and for the priest, it would feel like you're out of energy a lot faster than rogue or warrior. So that was a bug. We found it, and it's either fixed already or getting fixed soon.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
then
that
on
was a
top of
thing.
that, I saw some mentions of Beetle. And the Beetle, I think, got buffed already. It used to have 2 HP, so it would die accidentally by just anything. And now it's been buffed to like 100 HP, where you can still kill it if you target it specifically, but it's not gonna necessarily die from like accidental AoE damage. Died from
Hmm.
existence, yeah.
Yeah, I think it also can see stealth, right? Too. Is that on live as well?
Yeah, yeah, it can.
Yeah,
It just can
I've
smell
seen
yeah.
people.
hunters play
I
spare
do. I
traps
have
and
been
then
running the beetle too
beetles,
because it's
and then
another
just like
thing I
camp an
think
area,
that
and it's actually
could
kind
use
of
some
hard
iteration
to
and
push them
improvements
if
over
they have
time.
all that stuff
But
lying around.
one thing I think would be
Especially with
good
the
with it too
cyclone,
is like
as it
if it
currently
like
is too.
goes to a
They can always just
target
get
and then
away.
that target dies or runs away, it could reburrow, and just so you don't have to put a new one out. But anyway, okay, those are all some good
It might be
things.
more about cyclone being settled, I
All
think.
right. So then after this, I thought, so this is kind of the class updates here. And then, yeah, if you have more questions on the class and stuff like that, we'll have some time at the end to meet the devs to answer those. And of course, we'll monitor the chats too. But next thing I want to talk about is kind of hot topics in the community that we have heard you talk about.
Oh,
Um,
duo
and
queue.
so all of these are
Oh,
like not like
I wonder.
simple
Duos.
conversation or simple topics, or they're all complicated really, but I will go through each of these topics that you guys have had. I have answered some of these a little bit in the Discord or in the FAQ, etc., but can kind of talk through all these. First one is service stability. As I kind of mentioned in the previously, it's something ongoing that we're constantly improving and constantly patching and monitoring the servers. And so you will notice some instability as we kind of iterate and improve there. We've gone from like really safe fixes to more of like, oh, these could be risky fixes. And that's why sometimes like the server, it's down for more people because we're trying to like do more riskier fixes to improve general stability for everybody. And so, anyways, that is something that I know is a hot topic, and I hate it when I'm like go to sleep or right go to sleep and the server goes down. I'm like crap. I'm like trying to figure out if someone is available to kind of fix that. So anyway, we know like that is a thing, and it's ongoing. We're working on that. The second one is Duo Q. Yeah, I just came out of a meeting with some of the people on the team about the Duo Queue, and we're talking about that. So our stance that I have communicated that is in the FAQ is just that not against the idea of Duo Queue. The reason why we don't have it right now is um, uh, we're in early access and we're kind of growing the game. And it's something we can introduce later on. We do have solo, which is like only solos, and we have mix where you can queue solos, duos, or trios into that. And there's other games in the genre that have this. For example, Hunt Showdown, that's very similar. They have like kind of a mixed queue too. And looking at the data, like in mixed, I think it's like 60% or so play threes and like um 30 something percent Q duos and like only like 3-4% Q. Numbers don't match up, but it's the vibes are around those numbers. uh and so but anyway, uh my personal kind of thought is like IQ duos into trios, and I don't think it's that bad. I feel like I can, we could hold our own even against trios there. But I understand the player psychology and the view that you want to queue into duos and only be matched with duos, and I get that. So anyway, we're talking about it. It's possible we may just patch in a duos queue at some point in time. We have to change the UI. There's a few other things that we have to do there. So I think early access is a time to experiment and try different things. And so that is currently what we're talking about doing, is adding a duos queue. And so probably we'll kind of keep solos, trios, and or solos and mixed, and then just add duos. So that's currently what we're talking about doing right now. So that's our thoughts on duos right
Kind
now.
of what I figured they would do. I wasn't
Next one
expecting them to
is
just add it
VoIP
right off the rip because of
toxicity.
player count and
So
everything else.
VoIP is something that I think a lot of players really enjoy just because it creates all these interesting moments and situations. And I've had a lot of fun with it, but I can understand that there are like players who are incredibly toxic on VoIP. And I
Yeah,
get that. And so it
yeah.
is
That's
kind
why I
of
don't
like
use it.
use at your own risk. My guidance, if you have bad interactions with VoIP for right now, is to kind of turn the feature off, and so it's kind of opt in. Something I think that we will do over time is have a report feature for VoIP where if someone was really toxic or really kind of, I don't want to say toxic because it's always subjective, right? But more of just like, I don't know, using really, you know, um, racist or language or something like that. Like that's over the line, we should have a code of conduct there. And so we'll probably have some sort of report feature for that over time. But for now, my guidance would be if it tilts you, if it's like too much, I would really kind of turn the feature off for now. If you look at what other games do, right? There's only a couple solutions. One is you just don't have the feature. Or you have what Call of Duty does or what Apex does is they have AI that monitors the VoIP. Players don't love that because you're like, what is the AI doing? It's transcribing me. It's like, I don't know if that's great. And then it really like the AI has a lot of false positives, right? You say Bob Saget and it's like you're banned or whatever. So it's like, I don't think that's a good idea either. And then usually what players do in COD or Apex is they don't even use VoIP anymore because they're like, um they don't want to get banned accidentally, right? So I don't think that's really good option either.
That's a fair point
So
too.
that's our current thinking on it right now, is like, look, if you're having bad experience with it, just kind of disable it for now. But we may add a report feature later on where if there is really toxic players that
I would just leave it off personally.
uh there'll be some sort of pipeline to deal with that. But anyway, short term, just kind of turn it off if it's too much. All right, next one is new player experience.
I see
I love
teamings
that the
on here
community
too,
really wants to
so I'm
grow the
interested to hear
game
about
and
that.
to add new players to it. And that's kind of the last topic here. But and I do agree, one thing that we added before we shipped EA was Goldbrook, which is a tutorial map. And looking at the data, a lot of players do play this, especially new players that kind of learn the game, which is I'm really happy about that. But I think there's more we could do for new players. One thing we're talking about doing right now is adding a newbie queue. So when players queue the game and they've only played X hours, they're really new
That's
to
what
it,
Dark and
they
Darker
get put into
does,
their
I'm
own
pretty sure.
Greenwood with other new players only.
Sticks.
So you're not, queuing in there against some of the creators or whatever, getting dumpstered. So that is something we're also talking about adding in a future patch as well. So we think that we could help with that. Another thing too that we will talk about in this deck is introducing this role in the Discord, in the community, and trying to really nudge and encourage other players to try to help each other and mentor each other and help nurture new players. I think we all want the
Dark
game to
and Darker
succeed. We all
tried that
want
with the Knight
more
system,
players
but
to
it
join it,
failed
and so trying to create
pretty
new
bad. I
systems and
wonder
new
if these
things
devs
for this over time.
can get that system
But
to
anyway,
work
that's
better
the short
than
term.
Iron Mace was able
That's
to.
some thoughts there. Next topic, teaming. Again, this is another topic that we have talked about in the FAQ and on the Discord a bit. Sung posted something, I think, earlier this week talking about teaming and our current stance on teaming. So what is teaming? Teaming is, it mostly happens in solos, I feel like, which is that two players will group up together and in the session and team against other players or teaming against like creatures or bosses, stuff like that. Our kind of view right now is like, first of all, teaming of like organized teaming, like, hey, cue this, Greenwood, 3, 2, 1, go, and then like we'll meet up and just like destroy everybody. That is against the rules, and if we notice that, we will ban you. And please report that. And it's best if you report that with like a video and evidence and stuff like that. What we're going to be adding is a form that you have and that we're going to post in Discord that you fill out with put the player's name, screenshot, or video. I encourage you to use the Steam video recorder. It's amazing.
Dude, this is
And so
giving
if you
me
could include that, that really
Dungeon
helps
Born
us out.
vibes.
And
We're
then,
gonna have
it's going to be, you get a short warning for like a day ban, and then it
the
escalates,
teaming.
right? Up to a permanent ban. And so
Hopefully.
that is against the rules, right? Pre-teaming is bad. So however, if you do find another player in a session and like, for example, what I do sometimes when I'm queuing solo, if I see a warrior in blues killing a priest in junk gear, I'm like, okay, I'll just kill that warrior. And so that is not teaming. That is legit. That's just like gameplay, I feel like. And I've had sometimes when I'm helping another player, the other player get mad, like I'm teaming or something like that, which I'm not really like teaming. I'm just kind of
Teaming a
like
little
playing the
bit.
game. I'm just like helping another player. Part of the genre, part of this world PvP idea is that it's open-ended, it's wild, it's unpredictable, it's unscripted, right? And so some of those moments are just legit unscripted gameplay. And so I think a lot of times too, there's like these false positives of like, oh, they teamed me, but in reality they didn't. They didn't like coordinate. It's just like some players saw another player ganking another player. Maybe they thought it was unfair, or maybe they think, oh my gosh, I always get killed on my priest, so I'm going to help this priest
You do
out,
have to
right?
be
I think
careful
that is a
not to ban
legitimate,
people for
okay
third
thing.
parties
And
versus
so I
like
think
very
a lot of
blatant
us should
teaming.
just, we just have to be mindful of just, it's hard to know at
Especially in a
any
game
given
where you're
moment whether
paying for
something
the
is
game.
natural,
You don't want
organic, or
people
part of the
banned
game, or
that paid for
coordinated.
the game.
Like we said, the coordinated part is against the rules. If we notice you are coordinating queuing and meeting up and like dumpstering players in the lobby, we will take action on you, and that is right. uh but the other part of it is a gray area. And so anyway, that is our current stance. What we're going to do is enforce that stance of pre-teaming is bad, adding a form and a flow for that. um and uh anyway, that's the next step there, and we'll continue to monitor it as well. I also think, like I mentioned, we're going to probably introduce the duos queue, and so
I
I
guess
think
it's
that
not
will
just
also
me
help
who've noticed that. Yeah,
alleviate some things in
spectating just like
solos where
doesn't
players just
work.
want to play
I
together
don't even
as
use
two
spectate
players,
because it just
and so they're
completely
doing
bugs the
that,
game
maybe
out.
teaming just so that, to create their own duo queue essentially. And so I think that will also help with that. All right, that's the stance on teaming. And then the last one is, I noticed a lot of discussion about, legacy
Alt
of like,
tabbing
how is
also
the game
acts as
doing? How do
sharing
we grow
keys.
it? Should we do marketing, etc. like that? I really appreciate that. I love that our players really want to grow the game and stuff like that. Of course, we do too. However, we're in early access. We're developing the game over time. There's a lot of changes and improvements that we're doing. Everybody
You
on the
can
community
spectate.
adding
So you
input and
can,
like helping us test stuff.
Cyril,
We
it's just
love
that it
that.
bugs out a lot.
Our this Notorious has investors. We have partners
There's
that
like
we
a
work with.
decent
They're all
chance
really
that it
loving the
just
game, the
doesn't
potential.
work.
They're all super aligned with us and supporting us. So we feel really good energy. Let us worry about the marketing. Let us worry about the
Yep, no
future of growing the
inventory,
game. These
no
things like
HP
that. That
bars.
is
Yeah,
our,
it's very buggy.
whatever I say, you guys will do anyway. But that is something that is our responsibility as we do patches. For example, this patch that we're targeting in May, like mid-May or late May, with the wizard and stuff like that. Those are good opportunities for us to do more marketing and grow the game. Maybe we do a free weekend. Maybe we discount the game. Maybe we there's all these like little things that we could do to grow the player base over time. But those are the times to do it. Those are the times to like grow the game. Those are the times to introduce new players, is when we do patches with new content, new experiences, and that sort of thing. Anyway, that's our current stance on that. And we're always open to your ideas. The best way to market the game. You guys are the experts of this game at this point.
Yeah,
And so let
free
us know
weekend
if
right
there's
after
other
a
things that
big
we're not thinking
patch.
about
That would be
that we
good.
could do. All right. Next topic. So talking about improvements that we could do to marketing and improvements that we could do to growing the game, one thing that we didn't launch with early access is a creator program. And so we are adding a creator program now that you can apply to. Sung will probably post the details, or maybe he has already. I don't know if he wants to come up. Maybe he could talk about
I
it.
guess that's me.
But basically, what you will gain
Creating.
with the creator program is priority access to major updates. You will be able to get to do Twitch drops. And so we've
This
never
one's
done
for
Twitch
me,
drops
yeah.
before. And this is something that we probably would do when we do this next bigger patch and later in late spring. And also just different community giveaways. You'll get Steam keys to give away and different roles and swag. And we want to grow this over time and add more things to this over time. So anyways, this is going to be our first foray to this. And like I mentioned, Sung will post the details about that and all of that.
I know I've already been giving away
And next,
keys to the
nice, I
game
just saw
for the
that
last like
he
week or so.
updated it. So we've been thinking about what do we want to name this, like veteran, knights, wardens. So, anyways, we're calling it legacy warden status, and so wardens are basically a role in Discord in our community where players get access
I wonder what they mean by
um,
priority access
to
to
when we
major
do like
updates.
PTRs or
Is it
like
gonna come out
test
like on a
realms and
different
stuff like that for
server
new content.
first?
We're going to be
Maybe
doing
for
one for the
testing.
dungeon and probably the wizard and other things as well. So if you want to get access to that, the wardens get priority to that. In order to be a warden, you have to be in good standing with the studio, help new players when they come into the Discord. It's something that right now is going to be a little ad
Yeah,
hoc. The
probably maybe
moderators
like Dark
and
and Darkers test
the
server, except
team
maybe
at
it'll
the
actually be
studio
used.
will, we're all in Discord. If you see us with the blue text or the red text, this is either someone moderator or a someone that works in Notorious. And so we'll be giving out this role over time to
The
incentivize,
streamer
good
sees
behavior
updates
with
a
the
day or two in
community.
advance.
And
Yeah,
you'll
probably
get some of
something like
these
that, yeah.
additional benefits, and we'll grow this over time for more benefits too. Perhaps maybe in-game title or something like that. We'll talk about it. However, it is once you get it, it could be revoked at any time. So anyway, there's that. Uh, all right, and I think that's kind of it for now. But like I mentioned, this patch that we're all hard at work with the studios working on right now is targeted towards middle of May, towards the end of May. One of the biggest things is the wizard, which Andre and I were looking at, yes, just last night actually, and then the dungeon map that the team is working on. So yeah, at this point in time, we could maybe invite some people up for questions or that sort of thing, Andre?
Yeah, great slides. 10 out of 10. We have a
Thank you.
lot of people with their hand raised. So if you guys have any questions, raise your hand. We are going to try to get through as many as possible. So
Oh
we
yeah,
have
they
a
do
lot. So
questions,
please
FYI. So if
just
you guys
stick
want to
to
ask any
one
questions,
question each for now, and you can
I can
like
always throw
just
questions
raise your hand
here. We
again.
do have them.
Oh my God, we have so many. Chris, give me a number from
Okay,
1 to
there's probably no
25.
point in raising my hand unless there's a like.
Also,
I'm probably not gonna
your
get
camera
picked,
died.
but if there's anything
Yeah, I was
really
walking to
important,
get I was walking to
I
get
can
some
do it.
water. Okay, 16.
16. All right.
Yeah.
Water. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right. Cliff 2000. How do you raise hand? There's a button. It looks it's like a hand. It's like a button with a hand somewhere in Discord. You don't lift your hand above your head.
Yeah,
There's a little
waiting till
button.
May for content,
That's
it
right.
might
Hard
be
Cliff.
rough, man.
Hello,
Hi.
hello.
Just wanted to ask, personally, I always bring two weapons in my on my character. Let's say sword and board and staff on priest and whatever. What else? Do you have any? Do you guys have any intentions of maybe giving every class the opportunity to use two weapons, and maybe the warrior three, or is it gonna stick to the way it is?
Free weapon warrior.
Yeah, we've had this question in the past as well. Uh, current stance is right now to keep it how it is, where classes have one weapon and warriors could wield two and swap between them. You know, I do. This is something I didn't mention as well that we're going to be patching in the March patch is to add. So when you weapon swap, it will add a cooldown to the ability, to the Q on the weapon to de-incentivize players from having to do this weapon swap mid combat. I don't mind if you like swap your
That's
weapon,
probably a good idea.
you know, before you go into
Hopefully
a
it doesn't feel
dungeon
too awful
or
though,
underground
but
area or whatever you want to do mid match.
it
Like you
is
get a
pretty
better weapon, you
cheesy
swap it.
seeing all
That's
the
totally
weapon
fine.
swap
But
shit
like
going on.
weapon swapping in combat is not intentional, and so we will address that to de-incentivize you from having to do that,
It's an end of
because
May.
it'll just become annoying anyway.
Oh man, that's a
That
long
said, you
time.
know, we will keep it in mind. It would be interesting over time. We want to add like I have ideas for like fourth weapons for each class too, or we do on the team. And so maybe when we do that, then now we have enough to maybe we could think about letting you swap between two weapons or something like that. I don't know. We have to see in the future. But for
Robin, so that's a
now,
form of
yeah,
stealth
kind of stay
Russian.
how it is.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Good
Outside of
question.
like the blatant
Thank you for the
cheese,
question. Yeah, that does
maybe.
come up quite often, that question. And I think Chris addressed it well. Chris, give me a new number up to 30 something, up to 40.
Oh, okay. 20.
My God, I have to scroll down so much. 16,
I
17,
will
18,
say,
19.
if you add a
Mr.
cooldown to
Necrotic.
weapon swapping, it means that if you're right next to
Hey, good
somebody and
afternoon,
you want to
guys.
Hello.
swap, you basically just can't
Yeah,
do
I
it.
just have a
So
question
it might feel
regarding
like kind of bad in
new
practice.
players.
That's
In
something
a
to like.
motion
That is
to
something that
make
is
the
noteworthy.
experience better for newer players, I have a question regarding your tooltips in equipment and skills. Do you have any plans on really explaining what some of these terms mean? I feel that it would help new players understand what they're getting into when they gear up or when they're picking a skill. It just feels that they're too ambiguously stated.
That is very true.
yeah,
That is
good
100%
good
true.
question. I agree with you. Right now in the
Including stuff like
tooltips,
disease
we
and
do not
poison
even
and all
say the
that stuff
value
too.
of a lot of the like, you know, some of them do tell you, oh, your damage will increase by 30% or something like that, but most of them do not. Part of the reason is because we didn't yet develop the tech to do like tokenized tooltips basically, so that because part of the problem, right, if you do put the damage number in the tooltip, stuff like that, it's like anytime you tune it, you got to update that. And there's a workflow that you have to work by. It sounds easy and whatever, but if you notice in the last patch when we nerfed Death Ball, we didn't update the tooltip. We forgot to do that. And so it's kind of like this human error thing that we have to fix. And so we are going to add like tokenized tooltips. So we will have the damage numbers in the tooltips for sure. So we're going to do that. And then in terms of just like, more information about how the ability works, that sort of thing. I love that idea. Something that we want to do is update the spell book. Like if you go to spell book, for example, it doesn't tell you like what the jump attack is for the weapon or these things like that. And so we want to add
Yeah, Lish,
more
they
of
talked about
those
ears
things
earlier.
into the
Yeah, so am
spell
I
book
just
over
stupid?
time.
Is there a place to see stuff
There
like
is some like
poison and disease
trivia for
in game?
each ability that
I'll have to
like
look when I go back into
um
the game. I feel like I just never
for
pull
example,
it.
like the Elven Dance, using Elven Dance to shoot an elemental arrow. It was something we didn't plan, we didn't design for, but it kind of was a thing. And so we could add that to the tooltip, but then now the tooltip just becomes like a freaking essay, right? Of like how much stuff is on there. We got to think about that. Maybe we add like a tips or something for each ability. Anyway, I love the idea. I totally agree with
Yeah,
you.
I didn't realize it was on the
There's a
status
lot of
page. I
like
thought I
hidden
was looking in the help
hidden
section where it
depth
like
to the
listed
game that we
info
don't really surface
behind the
very
stuff.
well. But yeah, anyway, I agree, and we'll be doing that over time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. And just to add to that a little bit, I think he might have also been mentioning, because I saw people in chat mentioning stuff like, for instance, Spider Bite. Spider Bite, we have it mentioned on some perks, but we never exactly say what Spider Bite is. So, we know what it is because we made it, but it
Yeah,
doesn't really say
that's
anywhere.
yeah.
That's an example of something we might want to add in the skill book, where daggers would have like a description of what
You can only play an
their
hour a day,
right click does,
Lich.
like all their
Sounds better for the
combinations.
player base that
But there's
way.
also stuff like unstoppable, unblockable. What's the difference between incapacitate and stun? No roots, snares. That one's obvious, but and also the status effects. For now, if you go to your status page, the one where you see your health and all your like
Oh, this is
armor
for
and
me.
everything, if you
This
mouse
is
over
for me.
those, especially if you scroll down, you'll see like all the afflictions. So you can mouse over those and you see what they do exactly. But we agree that's probably not the most accessible and the best place for you to have them.
Yeah.
I mean, after 100 hours,
I mean, yeah,
I
for
never
sure.
found that.
Definitely, I
So
think
maybe I'm
and
just
Spider Bite
bad.
is a good example of a weapon attack. It's a
Possible.
press and hold on the right click. And so yeah, we got to add. I would love to just add those to the spellbook in the weapon so that you know what the name is and all that sort of thing for sure. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna invite. I'm gonna pick one myself.
Okay.
CP Kidney. I noticed he really wanted to join.
Hey, what's up, people?
Hey.
What up?
Pretty glad I got a chance to ask this question. I was originally going to ask about priests and not being a spark merchant, but y'all covered that. So currently, since y'all changed Morthog and the loot in the area, it's been pretty much a kill Morthog or camp the people who are killing Morthog kind of meta.
Very true.
I've noticed like 4 or 5 different groups out there all the time. And is that something that might be looking to be addressed? Like maybe adding more areas of interest with comparable loot or like something along those lines? Or is it just like the nature of the game? Since it has the best loot, it's going to be getting camped.
Yeah. So I had a meeting right before this call that I wanted to talk about that, but it went along on some other topic. Is Colin in the chat or no? Yeah, this is quite more of a question for him than me. But so we're going to update Morthog's room to have another exit so that you
That would
know
be a good idea.
if someone is trying to like gank you or you want to abort mission and you want to get out of
One
there,
exit is
there will be like another
kinda
way to get
silly.
out. So that is one thing we want to do. The door closing and locking you in is a temporary thing. I'm not sure if we're going to keep that long term. It was more to fix kind of the issue, the core issue is that the room just has all these kind of like areas where you can kind of cheese the boss and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a band-aid to kind of fix the room. I don't know if we're going to keep a door locking the encounter forever. Part of this is like an experiment to see like what can a boss be like in this like world PvP zone, right? Like if you played other MMOs like usually it's free for all, right? Like it's you kill a boss and if you get ganked, you
I
get
guess it
ganked.
depends on if people
maybe you
like
don't, maybe you
instance boss or
coordinate stuff
not.
like that. It's so open-ended.
Do you want people
And
to be able to
so
come in and fight you during the boss or wait?
I kind of don't
That's kind
think
of the
it's not
thing
supposed
that
to be
you have to
intentional
ask.
that there is supposed to be a door. It's supposed to be kind of open the entire time. But then we have other considerations of like, well, does the boss
Matty,
have
I
to
don't
be as
think
hard as
console
he
release
is,
is
right?
even gonna be
Part of
like
it was
it's.
Morthog's kind of tuned for more of
I
like
don't think
green
console
gear,
was even
but of
set
course
for
players could
like
still do it in junk gear if you're
probably
skilled enough or
2026.
whites, I guess. But So I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts here, and some of it we have to kind of like feel out. This is like the whole point of early access and stuff like that. So
Yeah, console would probably be like the
yeah.
full
Anyway,
release,
I don't know
like
the quite
something
answer
like
to that.
that.
I do think that it's not supposed to be locked. I think, and we're gonna add for sure. I know another exit, but yeah.
Excellent. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, the devs
Yeah,
have
but I have
mentioned
noticed that I was
the
spectating the
amount of
other
time
day,
it
and I
takes to
noticed like
hotfix
two
console
guys
games
doing
is a lot longer
Morthog, and
than
then a
PC
squad
and
of three
Steam.
just like
You probably won't see that for a while.
vultures, just licking their chops,
Yeah,
looking at them like.
they're just waiting outside the door. That's I can see them peeking through.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. I felt like I was doing World Dragons and WoW, and just like a horde.
Oh, bro,
just
don't
looking at
even
us.
bring me back to that. Don't even bring me back to that, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Legendborn
I was
looters,
I was a
the
priest
great
in that
stat,
game
but they
too, man. I
couldn't
had
keep
no
it up.
escape in that game either. I was done.
Yeah, it would be cool
Right,
to have
right.
more loot areas.
It's funny because I
Yeah.
added a spell for priests in that game called Feathers or whatever that was sprint, which kind of feels like
It
Oh,
would
that
be
was
cool if
you?
there were more
Sparks.
areas
Yeah,
that
yeah.
have like
Oh,
better
I
loot,
appreciate
and
it,
it
brother.
wasn't
I
just
really
like
do. We
boss
couldn't move.
only.
We were on wheelchairs until that moment. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, good
We could
question.
also just I don't know. We were also talking about adding more map events.
It would be nice if
on
there
the
were
map in general,
other
because right now he's also
bosses
saying
or
that
other
everyone's kind
areas
of
that could
concentrating in
have
that boss
similar
area just to either
boss
kill the
loot.
boss or to camp
Because
people
if
killing the
I
boss.
spawn in
But
15
if we have
minutes late
the
and
if we
people
have
are
like
already
more
in the
events throughout the
boss,
map at different
I'm
times,
basically
you might
locked out of doing
not.
that boss, which kind of sucks.
It might create a reason for people to
I
just
wonder if
move
I
away
should
from the
ask,
boss
like,
for a
or
little
if I
bit
wonder if I should
to go
raise
do
that.
do
What
something
do you
else.
guys think?
That's
Is that like a
like a different
reasonable
kind of time
thing to
event.
talk about? The fact that
Right,
like
right.
the good
Yeah, I
loot
know
is
some people talk about
basically
roaming
only on
bosses. That is
boss,
something that we want to do as
but
well.
if you spawn in late, you don't get to do the boss. You're kind of
Um,
like locked out of
Probably in
that raid.
addition to Morthog,
What do you
like some
guys?
other
What are you guys
roaming
thinking
boss.
about that?
Mhm.
Is that like a
All
reasonable
right, I'm
thing
gonna
to talk about?
invite. Who do we invite on stage? Do you want to give me a number, or do you want me to pick?
Yeah. All right, I got two
This is
yeses.
the
so,
first person that
Oh,
raised their hand.
you go
like
for it.
an
You
hour
go
ago.
for it. Yeah.
Mr. Pondo. Hello, hello.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yep.
I can.
Hi, fantastic game. Absolutely love it. I'm curious about the
I'm not really
long-term
asking about just other
monetization,
bosses, but more
how
like
Steam sales have done. I
areas
know
with
that
better loot.
you said
too.
you have investors. You
But maybe
feel
maybe
it seems like
it's
you're pretty
already been
comfortable about
asked.
the money flow right now.
Yeah, the chest item's not
$25
responding to
is
that
super
too.
reasonable, especially today with games price increases. I'm curious what the long term looks like, if there's going to be paid DLC, if it's going to be cosmetic only, if we're going to have to pay for extra classes. What does that kind of look like for you in a live service model?
Yeah, it's a good question, and part of me is I'm reluctant to talk about it because it could always change over time. But I will say that the next step that we're probably going to be doing is adding value to the additional DLCs we have, which is the Founders Edition and the God Tier. And so we'll be adding more stuff to those editions, to the existing people who have them, and then also to other people who are looking at purchasing them. For example, we've heard the feedback that the God Tier only really has like a cosmetic for the hunter. What about some of the other classes? And so we totally get that. And so we're going to be adding some things to those. And so that will help because new people who maybe didn't want to purchase those may purchase those ones. So that is like the next step we're going to do. We have a lot of ideas and cosmetics.
I'm not sure if
later
I'll get
on
to ask the
that we
question.
will
I think there's
ask
a
the
lot of
community what
people,
you guys think.
so I don't know if I'll
Some
be picked.
ideas here have to do. We have one idea, for example, which we wanted to do actually for early access, but we didn't get it in there, which is when you kill players, you could put your banner into their corpse, right? And then you can customize the banner. Like if you're played,
Gift you a key.
gosh,
I
what's
don't.
it called?
Don't
Mountain
worry
Blade, I
about it.
think they have like a banner customization kind of thing where you can customize your banner of like different pole or different emblem and stuff like that. And so we want to do something like that. And we have this cool idea too. When you click the banner, you can kind of see the other players like name and some of their achievements and titles and stuff like that, which we don't have either right now, but that would be another thing we would add there. So banners is one thing we could add, customizing the banners. Some of it also could be unlocked
Does
through
that come
doing
later in
things in the
raid?
game, not just purchasing. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
agree,
that is
Dustin.
like one
I
idea.
agree.
Others is
Coming in late sucks.
other just character customizations of different. We have a lot of different culture kits that we have for the classes. The idea with the game is there's all these kingdoms in the game, right? And the idea is like when you create a character, you choose the kingdom that your character comes from, and though that kingdom has its own ethnicity and culture and stuff like that. Like for example, the snow elf Eldinar, that's like a kingdom of an elf, right? And so there'll be more of those as well that we could introduce over time. Um, Another idea of monetization, for example, is if you ever played Path of Exile, they have this system called they have stash tabs too, and they have stash containers. They're basically the same thing. They're merged or whatever. But one kind of
Lost?
cool thing
I'm
they
a
have in
little
there
lost
is they
right now.
have
Yeah, a
affinity
little bit.
stash tabs, right? Where like it has its own little UI. So imagine like a goblin or an alchemist box or something, and it organizes all your potions and stuff like that. That kind of thing. So, we have a lot of different ideas actually that I think actually accentuate the experience of the game and that sort of thing that we could add over time. But, if you guys have more ideas, we're always listening as well.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, good question though.
Organized would be great.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Let's take 2 more questions.
Oh, I'm not being
For
picked,
this one,
boys.
let's ask Song for a number, because
I'm not being
let's give
picked.
him the power.
It's not
Song,
happening.
give me a number in chat, and I'll
He's gonna
like
post
from
in chat.
1
Okay.
to 41. Yeah. You pick a number, Song. 1 to 41, or you can pick a person. Don't make me count.
We have a lot of new people asking questions, which is good.
38. Jeez. Okay, I'll just go from the bottom. That's
38
easy,
might be
actually.
me.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we got person here.
Nope.
Hey guys.
Hello, sir.
How's it going?
I don't know what my
Yeah,
number
quick
is.
one.
I don't know how to see that.
There's a couple of games in the genre that do things like transition points in maps, and I was wondering, is this something that's being considered to kind of add value into potentially late spawns where you find yourself running around, a lot of the key objectives have already been taken, but you can go, okay, well, the
Oh,
crypt has a transition point
that's basic.
into
It's kind of on the
a
ballpark
deeper,
what I was
more
asking.
difficult zone that we can move down into and start working from there, rather than, okay, I'll just pick up the scraps and move to exit.
Yeah, you kind of like talk about like a roguelike thing where you like move up to another floor. That
It's
kind
like
of
not
thing.
exactly,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's
Like
similar.
Tarkov has the transition points to move between maps, and Dark and Darker has the red
Oh,
portals
oh.
to go deeper.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we have a lot of ideas. One of them is this topic. I thought of this idea called epic adventure, right? Where you move from one map to another map to another map, and you can't go back to Stonehaven, which is back to like back to the hub. In between, you have to like survive going from one map to another map to another map, and maybe there's like little like you could pitch a tent, or you could pitch like a fire to met up in between there, but it is just like you're transitioning from one map to the other map to the other map, and we call it epic adventure, right? I love that idea. We just have to have more maps to do, to do that.
Yeah.
But in the future we will,
Caves would be
I
cool.
think I would like to do that.
Like go into a cave and then
Also had
float into,
ideas
like,
of
a
like
new
what we
map
call
area.
wayfarer maps, which is basically it's more of just like it's more of like a trek. It's not so much of just like looting and extracting. It's more of like a journey. The fantasy, if you ever watch like Lord of the Rings, is like when they're going through Path of Caracas or whatever, and it's just like it's more about like a journey. It's not so much about like looting and killing and extracting. And there's all these like things there. And maybe what you do is you go from one map and then you have a wayfarer in between, kind of idea. And so yeah, there's a lot of these ideas that we really want to do in the future, but yeah, I love the idea.
Yeah, I like the idea of making it unique and
The nighttime
different to what's
version?
out there at the minute. No need to
Oh, I don't
copy.
think. Well, the
Just
nighttime
do
doesn't
something
exist
cool
yet.
and
It's on
unique to the
on
game
its way.
itself. So
Still.
your idea sounds a lot better than just hell portals and transition points.
Right. Yeah. Well, cool
Cheers,
question.
guys.
Thanks for the question. That's a cool idea, actually. We put Morthog at the final level, just the arena, and that's it. Or just a
Yeah.
rogue.
Yeah.
There's been some
Let's do
decent
one
talk
more question,
so far.
if that's all right. And I'll let you
Yeah.
pick, Chris. Again, 41 people with their hand raised. You can choose only one.
We'll go with one then. How about that?
Wait, say again. You cut out for a second.
One. Oh, one. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, one. It's very easy. There you go. Not a lot of
All right,
counting.
guys. Sorry, no question
Yeah,
from
what's
me.
up, fellas?
Oh,
Thank you,
Yeah.
bro.
Oh,
So have you guys considered it feels kind of bad whenever you go to revive someone when they're bleeding out and they just
Uh-huh.
die. Have you thought about maybe pausing the bleed out timer when they're actively being revived?
Yeah, good question. Thanks for reminding me about that. So that is a bug. That shouldn't happen. It should pause it.
that
It
is a good
has
point.
actually, if
That
you
is
did
kind of silly.
players who've done the alphas with us in the past, it always paused it. So we have to fix that. Hopefully, I'll follow up with that. I think we could stuff that into that March patch. I think if it hasn't been fixed already. So yeah, so we want to do that, and we also kind of want to make it so that when you execute a player, they can't give up. So that you actually get your execute off. It kind of feels weird that you're
Where
about to
scaling needs
execute and then just
address.
quit.
I don't know a whole
So
lot
yeah,
about that
then,
because I'm
if
usually
you
playing
die,
in
you gotta,
raids.
and they
I've
click
heard
you,
it's pretty
you're
crazy
gonna have to
though.
watch the execute. So that's another thing that we may monetize in the future as well as executes, like different execute animations. We call it execute 2.0, where it has more of like a little like cutscene kind of thing. If you played Apex or something like that. So anyway, thanks for bringing that up. We will follow up on that one.
yeah. I wrote that down as well. That's definitely a bug.
Yeah, we could follow up with that one.
If they cancel
Cool.
execute repeatedly, it would keep them trapped. Not
So
necessarily.
I
We
know
can
they
just
mentioned
lock
wanting to
them
do
if you complete the
balance
executes,
patches
and
about
then
every
you
2
start the
weeks.
animation, and then you're kind
That
of
would
locked
mean we
into
should
that
be
execute
what, like a couple
animation,
more
and
days for
then
the
we
next
don't let them
patch. The last one was in
leave.
what, like
Mm-hmm.
February
Good question. Thanks for the
25th or
question.
6th or something?
All the tickets have been amazing. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next week. I hope we do it again next week. We're gonna do it again next week, right? Most
If it's
likely.
not next week, it'll be the week after.
Why is my OBS disconnected?
Yeah,
So
either
we'll
that
figure it
or the
out.
week after.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
Any
right.
closing thoughts? If not,
No. Yeah, we will post details about. So we'll post this video, of course, on YouTube. So if you have friends who missed it, or you missed some of it, or something like that, we will post it there. And we will post also
OBS is
information, if
definitely
we
working.
haven't
I don't know
already,
what
about the
I don't
Warden
know what this
program and the
is.
Creator program as well. And so anyway, really appreciate everyone's time, and thank you for playing the game. We really love the game. We love playing it with you guys. So yeah, thank you, I guess.
thanks, guys.
All
Have a
right.
great
Bye-bye.
day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about what they just went over to. Also, let me check this announcement real quick because it's bothering me. Oh, report unethical teaming in solo. Hey everyone, we're taking action against players who intentionally team up in solo to gain an unfair advantage. If you've encountered this behavior, please use our official survey linked below. Okay, so so this is just a way to report people for teaming. Okay, so I want to go over a little bit about like some of the stuff they talked about. We can kind of do like a little bit of a Q&A here. We can kind of like discuss and just kind of talk amongst ourselves since the devs are no longer doing that. If you guys have any questions for me, or if you might have missed anything, I can try to talk about it. But we can do that for a little bit. So let me look at the chat too. Have I missed anything? Let's see. What's the future of the game looking like? I mean, I would say it's looking good so far. It seems like the devs are actively working towards, making the game better, which is obviously already +1 to what Dungeon Farm was, at the very least. Just beat the same team of 2 warrior, 1 priest 3 times. I don't know, man. Lag? Is it lagging? Maybe it's the maybe it's my computer like loading up the game or something. Who executes your opponent? Wait. Who you hack your opponents to get rage, kind of a dumb thing in solo. Oh, you mean like when someone's down, you just beat them? Yeah, I don't execute either. I just keep attacking them until they die. I do the same thing. Okay, give me a second. Let me fix my game capture. Let me also make it so you guys can hear the game. You probably can't right now. I changed it. Let's see. Legacy. Sorry, give me 1 second. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I'm trying to fix the OBS sound settings. Okay, you guys should be able to hear the game now. All right, give me. I'll be back in a minute, and then we can talk a little bit about some of the Q&A. And if you missed anything, I can go over that too. Be right back. Okay. Let me see if I've missed anything real quick. Yeah, so right now, as far as patching goes, it looks like we're looking at 2 weeks between big balance patches. So that means I think the last balance patch was somewhere around like February 25th or 26th. So we should be, what, like a little bit over a week since we should be, yeah, we should have a balance patch in what, like less than a week. So hopefully that addresses Ranger, Cyclone spam. Hopefully it fixes the warrior exploits. Those are the big ones I'm looking at personally. And then as far as content goes, it looks like we might be looking into closer to late May for any content. Which means that this game is probably gonna get, it might get a little bit stale. I mean, I know I've played more Legacy than the average player might have played. But I can tell you that I have about 100 hours in, and I'm actually about at the point where I'm kind of out of stuff to do. I've been out of stuff to do for a while. I've just kind of like mindlessly played because I like playing for stream and stuff like that. But right now, there's not a lot of content. I mean, you have one boss. There's only two. I guess there's like 3 mini bosses. I think the Sentinel, the Ogre, and then the Wraith isn't even marked as a mini boss, but it is technically a mini boss. So we're kind of sitting with not a whole lot of like PvE variety. We have one map. The PvE is a little bit in a rough spot right now. So we're kind of at a point where I wonder how the balance patches are going to be and how that will, kind of hold people over until May. Because right now, I'll just show it. The player base has been declining a pretty good amount. And I've been saying for a while that I don't think the player count is necessarily a make or break this early on for a game's cycle. However, that said, it is a little bit worrying because the devs are trying to make their money based on, well, I mean, it's a paid game, right? So if people aren't buying the game, then the devs aren't getting funding, and it kind of like loops in from there. So since launch, you guys can see where my camera isn't covering. I don't think it is. Yeah, so since launch, they started around 2,500 players. They fell down to about 2,000 during the next 2 days because it was a rough launch. During the weekend, the game got addressed, and they went up to about 3,000 players, which I think 3,000 was a relatively... I think that was a good number, personally. I think 3,000 for an early access game like this. The continuous dungeon system makes the game not feel empty. So the game is designed in a way where you're pretty much always finding people in your lobbies. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. Okay. Anyway. Oh my god. Oh, sorry. Anyway. Also train of thought. Yeah, so we're at the point where we've kind of started the free fall players. We've been bleeding about 1,000 every week. So we had, 3K on the 16th of February. We had 2,300 on the 23rd of February. So we lost like what? It was almost 1,000. Then 1 week later, the next Sunday, we're down to 1,450. So you can kind of see this consistent pattern. They're losing like a quarter of their player base every weekend. And it's kind of expected that you're not going to maintain, or you're not always going to just maintain. And I know it's early access, so like I kind of expected it, but it is starting to fall to the dangerous levels of like as far as that goes. Like anything like past like 1,500 2,000 I feel like was okay, but we're getting to the point where the peaks are also under 1,000. Our peak today was actually under 900, which I think is a little bit it's a little bit low. It's not, it is very low for an extraction title, which is a big part of the gameplay loop is having other people in the world and interacting and all that other stuff. And right now there are not that many people in the world, even at peak hours. And you'll see in like low periods, in like middle of the night, we're only at 400 players. That's really low for an extraction title. Like single player games, it doesn't matter, right? Because you could have 5 players. Like I can go load up Fallout 3 and play it even if there's no one in the world playing. Who cares, But games like this where the entire game is revolved around PvP and those kind of encounters, especially when there's not a lot of PvE content yet, I could see this game kind of falling. At this point, I am expecting the peak player count to drop before the next patch, or maybe before next week. It might fall under the 500s as far as like peak goes. I mean, it's really trending down to like that point. I don't think that means the game is dead, just to be clear, but it is going to make the game very, very, very hard to play, because if Legacy doesn't have enough players and you're not getting anybody in your lobbies, then you kind of get to a similar point to what Dungeonborn had. I know Dungeonborn is different. I get it. I know it's different, because Dungeonborn, you had to sit at the lobby and you literally couldn't get in the game. But this game is gonna, it's still a problem, because even though the continuous dungeon system will always let you into the game, you have to be really careful, because if the player base falls too much, then people are going to also just start getting compoundly bored, because they're not going to see anybody while they play. So it's going to end up being more of like a single player experience. But the player count is already so low that the people that are left are probably like the people that want PvP, because that's just kind of how the game cycle goes. The people that don't want to PvP end up leaving, and then the people that stay are just all looking for PvP, but then there's no players to incite that PvP, and then the players that want that also quit. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what happened with DV. It happened with even Dark and Darker during the early days when it like really fell down in players. I remember trying to play Dark and Darker with like under 2K players back on Blacksmith, and I could not find people. Yeah, basically the Super Sweats are the only people that are going to be left playing Legacy, and all of the Super Sweats, they don't care about PvE anymore. They've probably killed the bosses dozens, hundreds of times, even maybe the big boss, We have duping, which is everywhere right now. I know someone in chat mentioned duping. So everybody is duping items. I've seen screenshots of people with like 50 of those blue hammers that they're just duplicating them. So the entire economy for the rest of the wipe is dead. The entire economy of like expecting a fair ground against other players, it's gone. If people are duping hammers and stuff, then they're probably duping purple crystals, maybe legendary items. So at some point, the game is going to fall really far down in player base. It already kind of has. And the people left are probably going to be the dupers. that are running around with like god kits that can't be killed, like legendaries and purples. And it's no risk to them because they just dupe it and they have infinite amounts, which is a little bit scary to think about. And everything I'm saying right now, I don't think is speculative. I think it's going to happen. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like it's going to happen, which kind of sucks because I really do like this game. A lot of people haven't killed Morg. Well, outside of Morg, you could just talk about all the other content though. I mean, regardless, this game's PvE isn't quite enough to support a single player experience, is the problem. If there aren't enough players and every lobby feels dead, the entire game is built on the foundation of being a PvPvE game. So the PvE isn't necessarily that exciting because it's supposed to be paired with players. And it's not going to be because there's not going to be enough players to fill lobby soon. We're getting to the point where in the middle of the night, you are no longer going to be, you're going to start not finding players soon. We're getting down to the 400s. That is very, very low. When Dark and Darker started to reach numbers like around this, before continuous dungeons, it was already dead. The only reason Legacy doesn't feel dead yet is because it's because the continuous dungeon exists. So you have people joining in the first 15 minutes of a match, which is long enough to still find players. But it's a little bit scary just seeing like a very obvious downtrend. And if I had to take a guess, there's probably a few reasons for this. Number one, it's probably like lack of content. People just getting bored. You know, the game's been out for, how long has it been out for? A little less than a month. We're at what, like 3 weeks? Yeah, about 3 weeks, somewhere in that range. So we're about at that point. So people are getting bored. You know, they've already fought most of the bosses. They've fought most of the mobs. They've explored what they wanted to explore. Then you have the people that are tired of dying to sweats. That's just kind of naturally going to happen in games like this. You know, you have people that are not playing every day that are coming across people like Lich, who are just murdering the entire lobby and also sitting at extracts, so they can't even extract from the game. No disrespect to Lich if he's still here, but it's the truth. So if I am a little tinny and I just start up the game and I go through a dungeon and then I go to the extraction and then I get ran down and I get one shot by Lich's one-shot warrior combo, which is a whole different issue balance-wise. But if I just like run into Lich and I get one shot, like from 100 to 0 because the game is bugged and the combat isn't working properly, I'm probably going to uninstall the game or I'm not going to play anymore. Why would I want to play a game where I'm getting bullied to that extent? And as the dev said in the Q&A, there's no new player ground. There's no new player ground at all. Or new player like map or anything. The devs mentioned it, but there's not right now. So all these new players are getting funneled through as like into the meat grinder against people like even me. I mean, let's be real here. I don't die that much. I die every once in a while. You know, it's not that I'm invincible, but I do kill quite a few people, especially new players. I notice. You know, I kill them and they're getting graze. It happens. So, you know, it's not like it's out. It's the nature of the game. It's the nature of the extraction. But that's just like, it's another reason why the player base is going to like slowly fall. So lack of content. Players are getting tired of probably getting farmed by players that are way more skilled than them. You have duping that's going crazy, but I don't know if duping is the cause of player drop. I think I would replace... Duping is a problem, and it is going to really hurt the integrity of the game for the rest of the wipe. Well, you do have to be bloodthirsty. The developers give you 10% damage per ear, so if you don't kill those players, and then I come across a player like Lich, and he has 3 ears and I have 0, I lose for free, because it's a 30% damage difference. That's not true. the game incentivizes warrior players to kill all of the Timmies and collect their ears for combat bonuses. That is not true. You have to kill them if you're a warrior and you're coming across another warrior. That is just the reality of the game that the developers have designed. For now, that is how it currently works. If you are not killing players as a warrior for their ears, you are not playing correctly. It is what it is. They need to nerf ears somehow, but that is how it currently is, and that's how it currently feels. So fourth, PvP wise, so I kind of already touched on it. I think Lich would probably kill all these players anyway without the glitch. But right now, the glitches that are in place, I think, are also driving players away. The first one is the warriors one-shotting people. Warrior grabs you with their axe. They hit you with 2 heavies for free because of the animation cancel. Then he intimidating shouts, and then you get he gets a free heavy, and then he also gets a free chain right after the heavy, and it just ends up being like this endless combo of going from 100 to 0, which is not fun gameplay. So that's a problem. Also, the Hunter Cyclones, I'm starting to notice more and more people complain about Hunter in the forums. It's not just Cyclone too, it's the infinite arrow spam. So those two things are also, I think, driving away more players, which is why I think we're like still free falling down past the 1,000 point, because people are just getting sick and tired of fighting what just feels like unfun game mechanics, which I think Hunter, Cyclone, and the Warrior one shot is within the realm of unfair and unfun game mechanics. So there's that, and then it's just like the general like loop. There's only so much stuff to do. Legacy, when it first released, artificially made you grind for way more than I think the game ever should have. It's almost like the grind was supposed to be in lieu of content. What I mean by that is when you first started playing, it would take you, I mean, it was 80 hours before I even saw my first hammer. 90 hours before I saw my first hammer. And you know, I never even found a hammer, by the way. It wasn't until they updated the loot that I actually started to be able to fulfill my lodge requirements, because they up loot. So the game doesn't have a lot of content, which isn't really a problem because it's early, but it is going to, you know, result in this lower player count. But the game just, it's very grindy, and people are probably, I don't know, they're probably just burnt out on it, man. I don't know. I mean, it's a mix of everything I just said. If you want to chime anything in that I might have missed, or, you know, conflict anything I said, you're welcome to. But my prediction for this game right now is we are probably gonna fall down to like 500 peak by next week, unless the balance patch that they come out with is really significant and makes for a big game difference. So what do you guys think? I mean, that's really all I got. Um, Here, let me see. Let me go through the chat. I might have missed some stuff. Have I seen Soul Frame? I have not seen Soul Frame. Sorry. Fallout 3 has more players. Fallout 3 is a great game. I'd love to play that again. I really should do that at some point. They need 2 free extractions. You died to a certain warrior 3 times sitting at extracts. That's probably Lich. Yep, it's probably Lich. I agree. Let's see. Did I miss anything else? I know I did. I'm just scrolling through. We just don't feel the lower player base because people get inside a match even after 15 minutes, so the games are full of players. That's true, Halak TV. But as the player base continues to shrink and get smaller and smaller, I'm a little bit scared that we're going to start feeling the effects of a low player base. We're getting to the point where 800 peak and a 400 bottom, in the middle of the night, 400 people, you're probably going to notice that decrease in players. I can't imagine you don't. They didn't mention the warrior at the dev talk. The devs know about it. I can promise you, I personally created a ticket and told the devs directly about all of the warrior exploits. If they're not fixed, that'll be very, very unfortunate because they absolutely know about it. I told them myself, so we'll see. Maybe they didn't mention it because they don't want more people abusing it, but I don't know. Getting messed up by full blue gamers using every exploit on their class to provide a win. Yeah, it's not particularly fun. That's honestly why my drive to play Legacy has been going down. It's not even that I think the game is bad. I'm just sick and tired of dying to exploiting players. It's so unfun. Like, I don't even feel like I die because I play bad. It's like, I die because I'm not exploiting the class. And it's like, okay, well, I either exploit the class and then I, you know, continue the cycle of I either continue the cycle of basically cheesing out and killing other people for free, or I just die to these warriors doing the cheese. It's like, what the hell do I do? Like, they're both unfun because it's unfun to die and have to re-kit, but it's also unfun to exploit for me because I just want to play the game normally and not exploit. It's not that I can't exploit for kills. I can, but I don't. It's not very fun gameplay having to exploit for every kill. It feels like Dark and Darker's hot swap mechanic a little bit, because in High Roller, hot swapping is such an important mechanic. So is bunny hopping. So if you don't do those things, it feels like you're at a big disadvantage, and I feel the same way about these exploits right now for Warrior. People that are duping are not getting banned. As far as I know, duping is not being banned at all, which kind of it's a little annoying because like the entire wipe's integrity is gone. People are duping entire inventories of items. I feel like it's already over. Like the entire wipe is basically shot until they fix duping and they wipe everybody's stash, which is really bad because it's probably I mean, we're not getting wiped for 2+ months. And everybody's sitting on like so many duped items that it's not going to be very fun to go against, I imagine. Like just wait until these duped players decide to go into like solo and just go in all purple / legendary and you can't kill them because they're probably at such a gear deficit, but there's no risk of them dying. So like even if you kill them, they probably have another 50 kits or 500 crystals sitting behind to craft more. It's just like I don't know, man. It's not gonna be good. The dupe is really gonna hurt the game. It's really, really, really bad. Yeah, yeah, unknown. I've seen like full inventories of people's stuff of being like duped. It's really bad right now. In OCE, there's 30 people, and most of them are running around good gear because you can go 10 raids without seeing anyone. Timmies have no chance if they're found. I believe that. The player base is so small. OCE is already a small region, I think, like comparatively to other regions. So, like, when there's only 400 people online, even 800, there's probably not that many people playing OCE. So they're probably just going to be fodder for everybody else, which sucks. Dupe is a non-issue. Obi-Wan, keep in mind, I think you have to consider the fact that duping has kind of slowly been picking up. It wasn't really until recently that I started seeing full inventories of people getting killed with obviously duped inventories. You say right now that duping is not a problem. Give it a few more days or a week and then come back to me. And then tell me it's not a problem. Because if the duping doesn't get patched and more people learn how to dupe, there's going to be a point where the duping is absolutely going to be a problem. In my opinion. I think that's the case. The infinite ear mechanic was in the game for a long time before they limited it. You don't... yeah, I know it was, Hop. I know. I'm surprised it took them so long. The gameplay loop is so limited that it makes you feel like you have no progress after 20 hours unless you're really good at the game. Yeah, the only reason I feel like I've progressed a lot is because I feel like I'm pretty decent at Legacy, but it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough if you're new. You're probably not progressing very much at all. If you're dying every game and the only resources you're getting is like your little soul pouch, you're not progressing almost at all. People are duping. I mean, I'm not going to share how people are duping. I'm not going to like help people dupe, but yes, people are duping. You moved on to Star Citizen, but you got your eye on this game too. I never played Star Citizen, but I've heard I've heard about it. As I said in Discord, after patch, it's 30-50% rogues. They'll leave the game because rogues become slow and not interesting. Archers and priests are still useless. Warriors are overpowered. That's just not true. Calling Hunter useless means that you don't understand the current game meta. If you have not played Hunter with Cyclone spam as it currently is, if you did, you would not be calling Hunter useless. That is ridiculous. Priest is also not useless if it's a good player. Warriors really don't feel that overpowered, except for the fact that they can use that cheese spam that I talked about a little bit ago. It's just not true. And rogues are also still strong. Like all those things I just disagree with. If they add duos, Halak, then yeah, we're gonna notice this free fall even more. I would love duos as much as the next guy, but looking at this chart, I'm starting to realize that that's probably not reasonable. Unless they can rise, unless this number can increase by a significant amount, they can't add duos right now. They just can't do it. You're gonna see no people in your lobbies anymore. It's already getting to the point where I'm not even sure if I can realistically stream this game. Because like if I'm playing and I see no people in every lobby I play, it's just gonna get boring, you know? Like I like the extraction games, but if it's only single player and I'm just starting to not find other players, I've already kind of noticed in my streams that when I'm playing, I'm seeing less and less. Even like Lich was in my chat the other day, 2 days ago, and he said that I didn't see anybody, and he was right. I went for an entire raid, going to like the popular spots. You know, I went to the castle, the grave, the cemetery. I went to like the big hot spots. I saw nobody. There's no one there. There are people, but it's a big map, and you just don't always find them. So yeah, it's gonna be a problem. You played you played for 200 hours on a game that realistically have what, 50 to 70 hours of gameplay in the current state. People that are crying about that game are cringe. Okay, well, first of all, I'm not crying. I'm just stating facts of why the game is going down in players. But that doesn't really mean anything because everything I'm saying is still true. You're still going to feel the effects of less players in game because now we have a PvPvE game where the lobbies are going to start not filling. They already are starting to struggle filling. So everything that I've said isn't null and void just because you disagree with what I said. Right? You feel like the grind for vendors is just too difficult for casuals? Yeah, I think the grind for vendors is very, very grindy. I would probably agree with that. Even I mean, I have 120 hours, I think, right now. 100 hours or something, I don't know. And I think I still have some vendors at level 4. Granted, I didn't do the unfun method. You can grind vendors, but it just takes a lot of time. You have to go in and just farm, like, you know, hundreds of ingots and then just keep crafting and disenchanting and stuff like that. It's not very engaging gameplay to max out vendors. So, like, for casual gameplay, if you want to do it just from, you know, quests and stuff, yeah, you're going to be doing it for a long, long, long time. I'm inclined to agree. What's my perception of the devs compared to the games in other genres? Well, that's the one thing I'm going to give this game a lot of credit for. There is, like, I know I just said a bunch of things that maybe sound negative in the light of Legacy as a whole, but I think the devs are really solid. You know, I like the devs. They seem very personable. They're very open with the community. It's the only extraction game that I've played where they had an open Discord event like we just, you know, the dev Q&A that we just went through where any, not just streamers, but anybody can join and ask questions. I don't like I am a streamer, right? I don't understand why streamers are just given this like sole benefit of being the ones that talk to the devs only. I guess maybe it's because Legacy's a smaller game, but having the Legacy devs willing to go in front and share information every week about where they're heading for the game, I think is a very positive thing. So as far as communication goes and just general vibes of the devs, the game is great. You know, as far as that specific perception goes for the devs, Mika. You're the only player running blue sets on SA. Yeah, it's very possible. I don't know how widespread the duping currently is. It's possible that not everybody is duping, right? It's not like every single person's doing it. I don't know the exact number of people that are currently duping. I just don't know. I am vaguely familiar with how the dupe is like done. I have like a general idea, I think, of how it's done. I'm not gonna share it. I might know, I might not. I'm not exactly sure. Um, but regardless, it doesn't really matter. I know the dupes are happening. I know they are. I know for a fact dupes are happening. That's all I can say. So if it's not fixed, it is going to be a problem. I mean, how is it not, like, how could it not be a problem if people are able to just recreate, dozens of like high rarity material? It really does like hurt the integrity of the game in a game like this, I think. So that's kind of what I'm kind of worried about. How do people know how to dupe? Even if you're on Discord, there's nothing about it. It's mostly word of mouth, Ricky. So let's say if I dupe an item and I learn how to do it, then I tell my friends how to dupe and I tell them not to share it so that the dupe hopefully doesn't get patched. It's something like that. That's my understanding of how the dupe has kind of spread, but also stayed contained enough where people apparently don't know you can dupe. Because you absolutely can dupe. Oh, never mind. Ricky, apparently someone on YouTube Micro just told me that it was on Discord how to dupe, but the devs removed it, I guess, to try to stop it. So that's why. That would be the answer for that. Me and your friends and some other people, stop playing the game because of duping. Well, I mean, it's also just like an integrity thing, right? Why, like, from a gameplay perspective, if other people are duping items, what is the incentive for me to farm? I mean, I guess if you enjoy the farming, but gameplay mechanic wise, if some Joe Schmo over here is sitting here just creating hundreds of blue crystals and duplicating them, and I have to sit there and farm bosses for them, well, it doesn't feel very fair to me. So people are probably gonna feel demotivated and just stop playing. Every game like this has a dupe at some point, and it practically always catastrophically hurts the game's integrity. Yeah, Dark and Darker has probably had, God, they've probably had dozens of dupes at this point. Iron Mace, I think, has banned people for doing like big dupes, as far as I know. Either that or they didn't report, or they didn't ban, they did rollbacks. But Legacy, like, the devs seem pretty against doing a rollback. At this point, you basically can't roll it back. The dupe has been going on for so long, people already have the items. So a rollback would just piss the people off that are playing legitimately, and the people that duped, a lot of them would just still keep their items anyway. So I don't really know what the devs can do, but it definitely sucks. Especially because the player base is falling to such a low point. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to say. They didn't fix the ogre boss. Until you kill the boss, you shouldn't be able to loot the chests. Also, hunters cheesing the fights with ogre. Yeah, that's all kind of like issues, but those are almost smaller issues compared to everything I've talked about. I mean, they are important, but there's so many other things that I think I just talked about. Yeah, Satori, I'm with you the same way. I personally would love to see duos in this game, but I'm getting to the point where I think the player base is falling too much to reasonably have duos. So I'm a little bit worried that I just don't think the devs can add it. I think right now the best thing the devs can do is keep up with updates, do an update every, do their balance update every 2 weeks. The player base is probably going to keep falling. And then once they release like a big content patch, try to do a free weekend and then try to pull people in and raise the player count when the game is in a better spot. You don't want to, I don't think the devs even would want to market the game right now as it currently is. There's too many issues. Give it some time to fix, give it weeks, months, and then maybe start trying to get more people on. But until that happens, I imagine the game is going to be like falling from here, which is unfortunate because I really do enjoy this game. I don't play it just like just for streaming. I actually enjoy, even off stream I would play this game. I really did enjoy this a lot. They probably need to wipe in max 3 weeks. Well, they probably won't do that, Superhead. The developers have already said that they're planning to wipe about every 3 months. So, yeah, we're not getting a wipe for another 2+ months at the earliest, unless the devs change their mind, which means that all the duped items that we have are probably going to be in here for a while. You know, I will say, I know not everybody was around for it. Very, very early Dark and Darker, we would sometimes have wipes in like a 3-week period or a month period. It was a very short amount of time because Iron Mace knew that the game would have like big issues and just kind of said, okay, we're gonna do like faster paced wipes and it'll just wipe like right off the rip. I remember some wipes specifically going like 3 weeks. And then eventually down the road, we got to the point we're at now where wipes are like 3 or 4 months or something like that. So I wonder if Notorious should consider doing earlier wipes and then souping up the progression scaling. Like make the vendors level up faster, make the bosses and the mobs drop even more loot than they do even now after the buffs, and just make it so you can experience a full wipe in maybe just a couple of weeks. And just so they can kind of like, I don't know. I guess it just depends. I don't even know if that's even good. That's what Dark and Darker used to do, but that doesn't even mean it's necessarily gonna be better for this game because that'll just make other people mad too because not everybody wants to wipe every few weeks. So unless the progression is really, really fast, I'm not even sure if that's even a good idea, to be honest with you. Like, I'm saying it out loud. I'm like, okay, like, you could do that because of the dupes, but is that a good idea? I'm just not convinced it is. Trading is nearly non-existent, so dupling's useless. That's not really true. If you go to the Discord, there is a trading channel where people already trade. People already do RMT too. Just because trading is not doable in game does not mean people are not trading amongst their friends and also selling material. This isn't something that isn't happening. Just because it's harder doesn't mean it's not currently a thing. There's a whole Discord section already set for trading. If you honestly think that none of the items that have been being sold in trade have ever been duped, I think you're kidding yourself. I'm sure that some of the items have definitely been duped and sold. I would imagine that that's probably the case. Why don't they address the problem and reset the inventory and traders? Basically early wipe because of the exploits. Well, I kind of already addressed that, but you might have asked that before I just went on a rant about it, so I'll just move on. If you have any other questions, or feel free to say it, but I think I kind of already answered that. Yeah, right now, they're working on, what is it, Wizard first, and then Paladin after. And that's probably, Wizard's probably months away. Like, I would say probably 6 months away. From, like, it makes, the devs feel, it feels like they've really, it doesn't seem like they're too confident that it's going to come out anytime before 6 months. It feels like it's a long time away. If it's sooner, it's probably because it's not really a finished class yet. And it's more like a, hey, here's what Wizard looks like, but it's not ready yet. But here it is, you know? I have a feeling it'll probably take a while before we see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like it's going to take a while before we get, like, a really fleshed out Wizard. Like, maybe we get Wizard in, like, 3 months, but, or, for the next wipe, but it's probably not going to be a fully fleshed out Wizard. It's going to be like a bare bones starting point, kind of like Dark and Darker does. Duping is no different than rogues exploiting on Treasure Room. Oh, you know what? That's a really good point, Sketsa. I should have mentioned that too. Guys, it's not just duping. Rogues have been going into the Treasure Room and the crypt's evacuation door and whatever else. I think there's 2 evacuation doors, right? Rogues have been glitching inside of those rooms for weeks, almost since the game launched, I think. And since they buff loot in Treasure Room, rogues have been going into treasure and just farming non-stop over and over and over again. So these rogues are just getting full of loots. I'm talking like, I've seen rogues running in full blues. I know damn well those rogues did not earn those blues. 100%. They probably did the Treasure Room cheese, or they duped. One or both. I don't know. But the treasure room cheese and the crypt room cheese alone is already broken the integrity of the game already. You know how many times I would go to the treasure room with a key and the door would be closed and the loot would be taken? Do you know how annoying that is to join a game late, run all the way to the treasure room, and then get there and find that a rogue cheated inside of it and already took the loot and then left? Like, that's so stupid. It's so stupid, man. Just not enough to do in the game for you. Yeah, I feel kind of the same way, rain mode at this point. I know I'm in the minority though. Not everybody has as much playtime as me, but it also means that I have a little bit more insight on, I don't know, just like the general gameplay or what the game is currently going through. Uh, which I've been talking about for, God, half hour now. But yeah, I do feel like we're at the point where there is definitely a pretty big lack of content right now. But that's not necessarily a problem. I think the other stuff is more of a problem than lack of content, because the content will come over time. It is an early access game. I'm more worried about like the duping, the treasure room bug, the exploiting from warriors, um, the hunter issues. Like, there's so many other issues to worry about than, just lack of content. But that is definitely like one issue too. Visage Row can get into the church treasure room. Saw it this morning. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Zephyr, that's what I'm talking about. Visage Rogue, yep. Yep, they can just cheat right on in it. Doesn't matter. Free loot. You were happy with your one crystal shard, then someone on Discord shared a full stack of duped stat crystals, kind of killed your motivation. Yeah, I kind of feel similarly, Chibi. I think I've only found like one singular purple crystal in 100 hours of gameplay. It's probably about one. And I know that there are people out there who have like stacks upon stacks of these purple items because they've cheated. And it feels like really, really shitty from like a player versus player perspective of like knowing that this other guy has all this stuff and it's not legitimate at all. Rogue has many exploits and bugs. You think this game needs to onboard people better? Well, that's kind of two separate issues. The game really should be onboarding people better. I think as a new player, you should have, maybe the tutorial map should have the loot significantly decreased, and you should just let people play the tutorial map and still bring out loot. I don't know, maybe that's not a good thing, but would it even be that bad? Like, what if you made the tutorial map like the best gear you can find is whites, and you gave like very, very limited resources on it, and then you just let them fight different mobs and leave with a little bit of loot? That might not even be bad for the game. At this point, I'd actually be okay with it. There's already so much cheated loot anyway. What do I care if someone goes into the tutorial mode and grabs a few whites? Who cares? Just a thought. There was no base progression, though, for those wipes, unlike this game. Well, Sketsa, that's why I said that if they were going to do quicker wipes, you would be required to have the lodge progress be significantly faster. Because you're right. If they had shorter wipes and they wiped, then people would be pretty pissed because it takes so long to upgrade vendors and lodge and everything like that. I agree. The only reason I would ever say that raising drop rates and speeding up progression would be worth doing is if the wipes were quicker, but I don't know if that's really a good solution, guys. I know it's been talked about, but I don't know if that's really a good thing to do. It seems like they've intentionally kept the progression speed the way it is so that when they add the new map and class, it'll become more normalized and the new map will speed up the end progression. I agree with you, Abyss. I 100% agree with you. I think I think that is what they did at the start, and they buff loot to try to compensate for how much they try to do that. It's still it still feels kind of slow, but it feels a lot better than it was. But in terms of if it was a shorter wipe, it's still like way too slow. Namo, I have been going through Twitch chat and scrolling and answering every question. So I don't know how you can say that, but okay. Yeah. Yeah, Wizard and new map won't be for... Wait, did he say Wizard was late May too? I might have missed that part, Abyss. I didn't think Wizard was going to come for a while after. I still stand by what I said. If they release Wizard in May, I imagine it's going to be more of like a first like look prototype and not a full fleshed out class, similar to how Dark and Darker does it. Just an idea. Careful having any of these discussions in the Discord. They'll argue and say to get good. Well, we're not in Discord. We're in my own chat, so we can talk freely. No one's gonna ban you here. Unless you're a doofus and say something rude. I'll say it was reassuring to hear Chris say they're good on money and have good investors. Yeah, that gives me promise for the future of the game, even though the short term looks a little bit rough because of player count. I said it before and I'll say it again. I am very confident that the notorious dev team, it feels like they know what they're doing. They have a lot of experience. They communicate very well with the community. The patches that I've seen so far, it seems like they're on the right direction. Everything they do seems good. So I don't think Legacy is dead by any means. I think, just to be clear, all this talk is not me saying doom and gloom, Legacy is dead. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that, like, for short term, I'm a little bit worried about, like, player counts and lobbies filling and all the other issues that we've already kind of discussed. New players need to feel good and stick around and suggest it to their friends. Yeah, so right now, new players just join and get steamrolled by veterans. So new players need something that lets them play the game and not just get shit on. So that's definitely there needs to be something there to help them. I agree. Dark and Darker have the same issue. They need to be more harsh against exploiters, even people in the Discord joking about it. I kind of agree with you, boy, Bay. I think that people that are openly using the treasure room exploits or duping should get either they should get a temporary ban, like give them like a 24-hour, and then they should probably just wipe their stash. And then if they're caught for a second time, I think you just ban them completely. I think you give one chance, you give like an account wipe and a temporary ban, and then you just ban them completely after that. That's what I would do, personally. I don't think it's a good precedent to let people run rampant and like very clearly be duping and cheating through like these like rooms. I don't think that's good for the game. I think it would be better for the game if they were taking active action against these players. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think. Not sure if I answered this question before, but how would I feel if they made a square gear system? I don't know what square gear system is. You'd have to explain that to me. It sounds like it's not their priority. Game is far from finished, and spending a bunch of resources on fixing stuff like this all day instead of new systems and content seems like a waste. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say what the developer... I mean, the devs know better than me, right? I'm just some guy talking about their game. So what do I know? But I am kind of inclined to agree with you. It feels like... I don't know. I don't know what the devs like need to prioritize or what they are prioritizing behind the scene. You know, I know like what they shared. I know they're working on the balance changes, you know, for Hunter and Warrior, Rogue, all that other stuff. I know they're working on stuff, and it's 2 weeks, so I guess it'll be here within like the next week, maybe less. I know they're working on the big content for May, but as far as like all the other issues go, I don't really know what or how easy it's going to be for them to fix all this. This is a good game. You hope it survives. I agree, Barley. I really enjoy this game. I know I've been like here talking about it for a while, but I wouldn't be here talking about this game like this if I didn't like this game. I'm just saying. I would not be here talking about it if I didn't care. The art in this game is so distinct from other extractions, you hope it survives. Well, that's because I think Notorious at least does some of their I don't think it's not just all Unity assets. I don't know exactly what is made in-house versus not. I just don't know exactly, but if you compare this game to like Dark and Darker is like 95% Unity assets. If they can't do Unity asset, Dark and Darker, they just don't bother. That's all they do. You know, I think there's a little bit of a difference in art between, you know, Iron Mason and Notorious as far as that goes. I like the art in this game. I think it's good, personally. I know some people shit on the art, but I think it looks okay. You've seen people in full Legendary and Purple Warrior. Yeah, Simo, so the problem is we have to sit there and wonder, like, is that guy duping, or did he get that legitimately? And there's so much dishonesty going on, there's no way to know for sure. But based on my gameplay, I'm inclined to think that he did some kind of, you know, dubious way to get that gear. You've played for almost 300 hours and have gotten a stack of 12 purple shards from doing boss. Drops one every boss fight and it's hard to grind and doesn't drop every time. Yeah, that's why it feels like there's definitely a lot of cheated loot from what I've seen. Yeah, I get it. The way to keep new players is to reduce the amount of stun in this game. There's a surprising amount of counterplay to the stuns that new players complain about. Like even Rampage, you can just dodge out of it and not take most of the damage. It's more of a skill slash experience thing. It just is what it is. This game has a pretty high learning curve. It's not something that you just kind of hop in and get right away, which is why you need to separate new players from veteran players. Even I know the game is like 3 weeks old, but even 3 weeks is enough time to just completely stomp new players. They have no chance. They're going to get shit on. Like, it just is what it is. Back anything interesting? Mr. X, we're just kind of talking about the general state of the game and, you know, stuff like that. You played trios last night and I kept dying. I don't know who I know you're not talking about me. I didn't play trios. You want a spare key? You want a spare key for your friend and he quit when he realized the combat is keep dodging until you get hit and staggered. Well, it's not quite that way. It's not exactly like that. That might be how it looks from like a new player perspective, but it doesn't quite feel that exact way. There is definitely some stun and stagger, but it's not the all be all. I don't think it's quite that cut and dry, personally. You watch a few streamers shamelessly use it when it was easier. Do you mean the like the dupe gear and stuff? Oh, you mean Squire gear, God? Yeah, I mean, I think this game could have Squire gear. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Squire gear would be nice to have. Well, Dark and Darker Zell does I mean, it's all bought assets. So the fact that, you know, these devs are at least making stuff on their own makes me feel like the art is better. I mean, how can you... I mean, it's all bought assets, man. I mean, Dark and Darker's, you know, you can say it looks great or not, but it is all bought assets. It's why games are gonna look so similar to Dark and Darker and like have the same exact assets because they're not making anything in house. So any Joe Schmo could go buy the asset that Dark and Darker is using. You know, it's kind of the downside of using bought assets. It is what it is. You know. Wipes should happen with content patches. If you make wipes too often, there won't be much hype for them. I agree with that too. Yeah, you can't wipe too often. If you wipe too much, then people just kind of like get tired of getting constantly wiped. And if you don't wipe enough and you have issues like the duping and the rogue bugs and stuff like that, then it kind of makes the wipe not feel very good either. So it's kind of you have to find a fine line between the two, I think. Wasn't Dark and Darker had 500 players during early access to jump to 40K on new release? Yeah, so Wix, Dark and Darker, back on Blacksmith Launcher, I think had about maybe 1 to 2K players at most. And then they did jump to 40K. But Dark and Darker's been falling too. Dark and Darker is not in like they have a higher player count, but they're going through the same shit, you know? I mean, look at this. So, Dark and Darker has gone from 57,000 players and has been falling every single month except for a very small tick during wipes, and it just keeps falling. I mean, you can look at look at this, you know? Can you honestly tell me that this is a sign of a growing game? It's like all negative except for like 2 months. Like this is a wipe right here where they gain 50%. But every other month it's all negative, you know. So they're going through like a similar thing. It's just Dark and Darker's player count is way more healthy. They've had years to develop their game. They were first in the door. They have a lot of advantages that, you know, Legacy does not have because they've been out for a lot longer. But they're going through similar issues with player count too. Just putting it out there. What about people openly exploiting warriors? I don't like any of the exploits personally. The warrior exploit feels really stupid. But the problem is if other warriors are exploiting and you don't exploit against them, you just lose. It's why I'm not having fun playing warrior right now because the people that I fight and kill me are usually exploiting. So it's like, okay, well what the hell what am I even supposed to do? It does feel a little silly. Most warriors are exploiting right now. I did one stream where I was trying out the exploit, but I quickly stopped doing it because it felt kind of cheesy. Um, I am not an exploiting warrior. At the current moment, I'm not an exploiting warrior. At least for now. Dark and Darker looks a bit generic. Well, yeah, because it's all bought assets. Every single thing Dark and Darker has, it's all been bought from the market. Every single thing has been bought from the market. You feel like the ability that stun is okay. The auto attack clicking should not hit stun the way it does. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't think it's that big of a deal, man. I don't know how much time you've put into it, but the little bit of hit stun you get from fighting isn't even like my biggest gripe for PvP. It's like the other exploitable stuff. Maybe it's because I've played so much time, I'm not really sure. But it really doesn't feel that bad, I think, once you like get used to the combat. Mixed reviews now too. Is that true? What are the reviews like for Legacy? That's true. I will say it's mixed, but it's at 69%. So that's not that bad. I mean that's 1%. It could easily flip flop between mixed and positive. That's kind of like a small potato kind of thing. Think the stun is horrible. You agree with that guy? Yeah, maybe more people disagree with me than agree with me. That's also okay. We don't have to have the same opinion. That's perfectly fine. I personally think the stunning is not as much of an issue once you like get used to the game's combat, but you know, that's just me. The hit stun on PvE is too much. I disagree with that too. The PvE is already just stupid easy for range classes. If you didn't hit stun mobs in melee, then why the hell would you ever melee any mob in the game? Just use range. It's just so much better. It would feel so bad if basic mobs did not get hit stunned. I am going to personally disagree with that. Because at that point, you just play ranger and just kill everything for free with your bow. I don't think you'd. Why would you risk taking hits? The elites already resist that hit stun. You know, if you want to fight the good mobs and get better loot, you already have to go through mobs. I don't think every single mob in the game should have no hit stun. Because then, yeah, you just play range instead. You went the other way around? Oh, mob staggers us too much. Yeah, that's a little annoying. Okay, that makes more sense. I was gonna say, do you really want every goblin to not get hit staggered by you in melee? That sounds awful. But okay. That I can agree with that a little bit more. Okay. I got it. Does Dark and Darker have mixed reviews? I don't know. Does it? Am I playing? I don't know, maybe. I'm just talking right now. Okay, yeah, it is. Well, the recent reviews is mixed, but they're mostly positive for all. Dark and Darker like goes through their own slew of ups and downs of like, you know, down votes, up votes, whatever. I think, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say for sure. Mostly, oh, that's when I don't. That's a funny bug. That's like when the game first released. I don't know why it's showing that. The only thing you've died to in the past couple days in Warrior is the exploit. Oh yeah, you mean against Warriors when they're using like the double axe and the spin exploit? Yeah, that shit's pretty insane. I think that exploit's like that exploit is a pretty big problem right now. I don't think it's like particularly it's not particularly fun to play against at the moment. And I think a lot of people that are left playing the game are currently doing the exploits. So it's kind of tough to even do a lot of PvP at the moment. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as far as the game goes. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. I know we kind of rambled for a while, but I wanted to talk. I don't know. I just thought it was important to get all this stuff out there. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I am a little worried about the short term of the game because I think short term the game might become kind of like not played a whole lot, but future wise, I feel like Notorious is doing pretty well. You know, it'll just take time to kind of get to the point where the game just feels like it's in a better state. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at personally. It's also why I've been using nothing but green gear, because I think there's so many exploiters out there that I just don't want to lose. I just don't even want to bother using good gear because I'll just probably lose it anyway. Butcher, there's an exploit where you can do double damage with your axe using an animation cancel, and there's also a double damage bug with weapon swapping too. You've gotten multiple legendary killed. Oh, sorry. You've gotten multiple legendaries. You've killed the boss 50 times, and it still feels like the loot is bad. Yeah, I think the loot still feels too low in this game. I mean, it's a lot better than it was, but it definitely still feels a little bit low. Yeah, sure. I think there's a huge difference between this game in the short term and the long term. In the short term, I am kind of worried about where this game is gonna be because I really like streaming this game. I think it's fun, but if the player base is dead and there's no one in my lobbies anymore, and I can't just play a single. I guess I could, but I'm gonna get bored just playing a single player game all the time, you know? And like right now, like there's still 800 people on, so I will probably still find players, but I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about how the game's gonna go. I'm a little. I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I was a little bit worried about it. That's why you sometimes get nuked? Yeah, Butcher. If you ever fight a warrior and you feel like you just die from 100 to 0 for free, that is the reason why. Yeah. That would be the answer why. Yep. That's it. Yeah. Definitely not ideal, that's for sure. You think they need an economy wipe after the next big patch? They can't really do it, man. I don't know if they would, Roshi. The problem is they've already said that they want to wipe every 3 months. The only way that they could do a wipe and not piss the entire remaining community off would be if they made loot drops like super high. I'm talking like playtest levels of drops. Because in the playtest, you would find gear pretty often. It's not like even now it's still nerfed compared to playtests. The whole combo one taps ungeared players. The whole combo almost one-taps geared players, too. I think it's like 1,600 damage or something like that. It's a lot. If they have 3 ears, you might just get one tap, too. When you found out people are duping purple sets, it's quite useless to even try to battle people in greens you had to farm for. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, Evil. I think it's a little bit unfortunate because I am 100% legitimate, right? You can tell by my stash that I've never duped. Otherwise, I'd have way more purples and blues. I've also never done the rogue exploit for gear. So everything I have is completely from, like, my own gameplay. Like, I don't have fun exploiting for stuff like that, so, like, I'm not gonna do it, but it is a little demotivating knowing that there's people running around in, like, obviously duped sets. It is a little shitty. You found a rogue and legendary shoulder. Wait, you found legendary shoulders on a wolf yesterday? Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, you can technically do it. It's just really, really rare. You're glad I don't like the combo? Well, I like the combo. Well, no. Well, I'll use the combo, but I think it's OP, you know? We're talking about how incapacitating shot plus axe full charge one-shots non-warrior people in Gray's White. Since it's not a bug, it's overtuned. That's fair. Does it one-shot Gray people? If that's true, that is probably OP too. Yep. My stash for 120 hours is insane. I might be the best farmer. I don't think it's anything that crazy. Well, you know, that also could be because I've seen people's stashes and everyone is, like, doing, like, the treasure bugs and stuff. I don't know. I think it's okay, though, for the amount of time I've played. It's not bad. I have this, too. My rogue has a bunch of blues. I got my blue gear here, and I got my, like, random bullshit here. Including, like, 30 glint. I mean, I also think people getting one-shot in Grays is also kind of a gear problem, too. Right now, I think gear is really strong, and it's being over-exemplified by the fact that gear is so rare. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of insight in my 3,000 hours of playing Dark and Darker. So, way back in the day, so Dark and Darker has kind of gone through periods of time where gear was stronger, gear was weaker, gear dropped more frequently, gear dropped less frequently, whatever. I can tell you that from a casual player experience, the most fun that I've seen the community have has been when gear drops more frequently than less frequently. If you guys remember the patch a few months back, I think it was patch 67 or 68 for Dark and Darker. It was when I returned from Dungeonborn and moved to Dark and Darker. They released a patch that made gear significantly more common, and that was like known around the community as one of the best patches that the devs have released. I saw positive messages on Reddit. I saw them on Discord. Like everybody seemed to think it was positive. So what happens is when you have gear that's as good as it is in Legacy, and you also have the drop rate super low, it feels really bad when you're stuck on Grays, and you're just dying to people in blues that you literally basically can't kill. And then you also have, like, the opposite, or you have, like, the side issue of duping and rogue bug, like, the rogue glitching and all that other stuff that also hurts the economy. But that's just, like, I don't know, just some thoughts. What do you do? What do I as a hunter do with all player ears? You can sell them or use them in your ossuary. If you go to your lodge and you go to the ossuary, you can put ears in, and you'll get more reputation between games, or between, like, weeks. So that's how that works currently. What think of the Q&A? Yeah, the Q&A finished a little bit ago, so I've kind of just been discussing what they said from the Q&A. General thoughts. Honestly, I just went over so much from the Q&A. If you want to see my full thoughts, I would just rewind an hour because I just spent a lot of time talking about it. If you want like a short version, it's devs are working on balance patches every 2 weeks. If you want content, we're waiting until May. Some character balance is coming, things like that. They're working on Wizard, a new map. But again, we're not going to see that till at least May. That's kind of a short version of what they shared on the Q&A, if you're wondering. Did I see Lich get forced DC to lose his blue-purple kit? No. Lich didn't mention that to me. I don't know anything about that. Maybe they should reduce the cost? Well, I'm sure the devs are not naive or unaware. Maybe unaware is the right word. I'm sure they know that they could get more players playing if they didn't have a $25 price tag. The problem is, at this point in time, they've already established a price line. If they reduce the price right now, then what do they do? Are they going to give every single person who bought the game a refund? Well, I tell you what, they're not going to want to do that. So what do they do? And I mean, I don't know. They could do a sale. They don't have to reduce the price permanently. They could do a sale, but do you really want to put the game on sale in the current state? I would say you don't do a sale unless you have a big content update or a big balance update that makes the game feel better, personally. Wipe inventory and character level, leave city and lodge progression. Well, Nick Blood, everything is gonna be wiped. It's already been confirmed that everything will wipe when that wipe happens. Like that's not really like up for discussion because that's already what the devs want to do. Yeah, you know, I mentioned that earlier, Barapatin. The communication from Notorious is leagues better than Iron Mace could ever hope to achieve. The amount of communication that they do compared to Notorious just isn't there. So I know like the game is in like a little bit of a rough spot now that we're kind of a few weeks after EA. There's a bunch of issues. Whatever. But I will say, if there is one like light at the end of the tunnel, and it's that I trust Notorious to make a good game, and I trust that they'll make good patches, and they're very open with communication and with the community. So I don't know. I personally like, I'm gonna be here for the long haul for this game most likely. I'm sure I'll be like I'm sure I'll like play other games and I'll kind of flip between other stuff. I'm not only gonna play Legacy. But I do like this game, so I'll definitely be here to, like, see the game progress and kind of go from there. It's not ready for a bigger audience. We're basically paying them to be testers. Well, you're not wrong, Dustin. I think the game is not ready for a bigger audience. I think you're right. If the game was free to play, considering all of the issues that the game has had, I think it would be in danger of going like a similar route to DB, in that you would lose a lot of players that would never come back because like the balance patches don't happen day one, you know. We have you know, we've had warriors doing this double damage exploit for a few days now, however long it's been. You know, we have hunters flying across the map. This stuff probably isn't going to get fixed until later this week, next week. So it's going to be like a full week of pretty unfun PvP. You know, it almost kind of feels like the life one hit scenario where everyone was like wanting life one hit to get fixed and it just wasn't, it took too long. And then a bunch of people left and never came back and cycle kind of went from there. I don't think going free to play right now is really the best play. I think it's fine as is. I think worrying about free to play and free weekends and all that other jazz is better once the game is in a better state, personally. Game is rough on casuals. The gear gap between blue and white is brutal, and casuals barely get greens. I said the same exact thing, Solovino. I said that like 3 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I said like almost exactly what you said, yeah. What do I think if there will be a big and long character progression? Like PoE, like leveling characters will not be... Oh, okay, so you mean how would I feel if there was certain progression that would carry over between wipes? Is that what you mean? I think there should be something like that. I mean, Dark and Darker does that, where you have skins and emotes and cosmetics and all, you know, whatever else that carries over between wipes, and it gives you something to do. So do you mean like that, or do you mean something else entirely? Kush, the interview was not to me. It was a Discord open Q&A that anyone could join, and I just did a stream for it. So if you want to watch, like, if you want to listen to what the devs had to say, you can just go to the start of the stream and watch that. It was probably like an hour long, something like that. It's a part of the journey, fun of it. You like being a part of the process. What gives you hope about the studio is the devs and how they interact with the community. I agree, Dustin. I agree, word for what you just said. You love the gameplay foundation of Legacy, and you like the color palette and outside maps with Legacy. Not always just in a dark dungeon with a bunch of different shades of brown and gray. Yeah, I like the art style of Legacy, personally. I'm inclined to agree with you. Extractions are not for casuals. It's hard to cater to them, but they are needed for longevity. Stepping into this genre is a tough choice. The easy route is to make it a... Well, yes and no. Yeah, sure. Extraction games are not for casuals, but that doesn't mean that you can't attract a casual audience. A great example is Rust. Rust is not a casual game at all. Yet somehow, Rust seems to always have a lot of players, and they also attract casual players. It's not only sweats playing Rust. It does attract the sweaty players, but it's not only sweats. You know, you have to make your game in a way where you're going to be able to attract those casuals, and that is up to the devs to do, really. Not really for us to figure out, but yeah. Devs will have to figure something out for themselves. Purple gear gap is more insane than blue, and a lot of people who are full purples are duper, so it makes it worse. Yeah, guys, I saw a warrior with 83% physical damage reduction. It was, I think it was in, like, full legendaries or something. Yeah, it was, yeah, it looked like early Dark and Darker Day level of imbalance. Could you imagine an 83% PDR warrior fighting a warrior with like 30% PDR? You're just gonna get stat checked and die. There's nothing you can do. And if people are duping kits like that, yeah, God rest your soul if you come across something like that. Good luck. For Blue Plus gear, you should have to unlock the gem slot in the gear and not have to open it for free. I don't even think that's really an issue, because that just makes it even harder for casual players. You're just giving extra steps. That's not really the problem. The problem is that gear is so hard to get and it's so strong. It's like a mixture of both. I mean, if you guys... Okay, so the math gurus in here are going to understand the difference in stats. If you have 50% PDR, your effective HP is ×2. Okay? Let's look at the stat tab real quick. Okay? So let's say I have 2,000 HP and I have 50% physical armor. Okay? It means that my total HP, my effective HP, would be 4,000. But also keep in mind that it means that healing potions will heal me for, like, effectively that amount too. Because the healing is going to be 1 for 1, but I have more armor behind me. So if I have 2,000 HP and I have 50% armor, 50% is double. Yes, it is. That is how math works. It is double. Yes. Yes. Are you trying to... Or am I wrong? Are you trolling me? Am I stupid? It is double. Kawa, no, you're not understanding what I'm saying. That's not how armor works. 100% is guys, stop. Okay, stop talking. All right, children, listen, I'm gonna give you a math lesson because you guys don't know what you're talking about. 50% armor is times 2 health. Okay, 66% armor is 3 times health. 75% armor is 4 times health, and it keeps going from there. 50%, it's not, yeah, it's not, that's not how that works. It's a physical armor stat. I'm talking about physical damage reduction, not attack difference. I'm not saying that you're doing 100 damage and you're doing 50% less damage. I'm saying, yeah, I'm talking about physical armor stats, guys. So if a physical armor stat was 100%, it means that you take no damage. 100% is not double health. It's 0. It's 0 damage. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Pull up the freaking calculator. If I have 2,000 HP, okay, how do I even do this? Okay, I'll do it this way. I'll do it in like the simplest term I can think of. If I do 100 health, if I do 100 damage, okay, if I do 100 damage, and that guy has 50% armor, I would do half. I would do half damage, right? I would do half damage. So my effective attack would be 50. Okay, I'm trying to explain this. Like, I'm trying to explain the effective HP, because you're doing half the damage at 50% armor. Okay, does this make sense? Does this compute? What is the mathematical equation that I can show the effective HP for the people that don't understand how armor scales? If I have 2,000 HP and I have 50% armor, you would multiply your health by 2, but I don't know how to show that in an equation, is the problem. But that's how that works. Because you don't multiply it by, like, you don't just multiply it by 0.5 or whatever. That's not the amount of health that you're gaining, because it's a physical armor total. It's not, like, that's not the right way to do it. There is an equation, but I don't know what the equation is, but even if I had it, I don't know if you'd understand it or not. But that's how, you just have to trust me. That's how it works, okay? If I have 50% armor, I take half damage, okay? And it scales from there. There was an old Dark and Darker chart that I had that used to explain your effective health pool. 95% physical armor, I think, is 20 times your effective health pool. So if I have 2,000 health and I had 95% physical armor, my effective health would be 40,000. Because of how much, like, that armor is going to do, because it scales on the higher end. That's how effective health works. The higher you go, the easier it is, like the more health you're going to accumulate. Like, if you don't understand what I'm talking about on effective health, you're not going to understand the equation. So I'm trying to explain this as easy as I can. Yeah. So, old Dark and Darker, fighters could cap to like 95, it was like 95% PDR, so they would have 20x effective health. They dropped it down to 75%, which is only 4 times effective health. So the difference between 75% physical armor and 95 physical armor is literally 16 times your health. It's insane. I don't know how else to possibly explain this, but yeah. Anyway, what was I even talking about before we started talking about this? Oh, high gear warriors with legendary gear can get like 83% physical armor. So their effective HP, I think, is times 10? What is 83%? 80% is times 5. 83 is probably like 7. Somewhere around 7. So your effective HP is probably like from 2,000 to like 12 to 14,000 against physical damage. It's somewhere in that range. And then like anything higher than that just keeps scaling from there. Don't explain with math, explain with picture. I mean, I don't know know if I don't know how to find a picture online. How would I even explain it? Wonder if I can get one off Google to show it. If I can find something, just use paint. I mean, I could. I don't really know exactly how I would do it, though. I think my explanation was fine, to be honest with you. I think if you're gonna get it, you get it. If you don't get it, then you just don't get it. Like, it is what it is. Yeah, it's an exponential curve. Like, the higher you go... God. I can do a graph. Okay. Okay, so... Alright, we have this graph over here, okay? We have this. So, we'll do it like... How do we even do this? How are we gonna... How do I even draw this, boys? How do we draw this? Do we do a graph with, like... The, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to... I don't know, like, the effective way to do this. I don't know how to visually share what this looks like. I could do it like this. No, I'm gonna do text. Hold up. I'm gonna do text. Where's the text feature at? Okay, I have somewhat of an idea. You know what? I think I have a chart in my phone. That was from Dark and Darker. That I could actually use and just draw. Let me see. I wonder if I still have that chart or not. Who knows? Give me like 1 minute to look through my phone's pictures and see if... Oh my god, I actually have it. Holy shit, I still have it. Oh my god, can you guys see this? Okay. Do you see this chart? This is an effective HP chart that I used to use on Dark and Darker in the playtest to min-max my character. I'm gonna draw this for you on screen so you now know what it looks like. Okay? So, this is gonna be your armor percentage. Okay? And this is gonna be your effective HP. Okay? Okay? So, at 50% armor, you have 2 times health. Okay? At 66% armor, I can't believe I still have this chart. You have 3 times health. Okay? At 75% armor, you have 4 times health. At 80%, you have 5 times health. At 90%, you have 10 times health. Oh my god. And at 95%, you have 20 times health. Okay? Okay. So what this means is that your armor percentage is going to multiply your total HP to effectively be that number. Okay? So, if I have 100 HP, okay, it would be 200, 300, 400, 500, 1,000, and 2,000. Okay? Okay? Okay, we understanding now? We get it? So, at the higher thresholds of armor, it is a significantly different It is significantly different to go from 80 to 90% armor from like 50 to 60. Because the way that armor and HP scales is just super, super good on the higher end, okay? So, if we use that in a real-life context, being the stat page, I think I saw a picture of a 2500 HP warrior with 83% effective health, okay? So, if we confer with the painting chart, if I have 2500 HP as a warrior, and I have 83% health, that's probably going to be somewhere around like 6 or 7 HP. Let's call it 7. It's somewhere in that range. My effective HP as warrior on a legendary kit would now be 17,500 HP. Who's complaining about this? We were talking about gear, Callum. So we were talking about gear, and someone told me that 50% armor only gives you 50% more health, and I had to go through a whole spiel to say that that is not how armor scaling works. So now you know, if you want to scale your PDR, this is how you do it. You look at these numbers and you can kind of go from here. Very easy to understand, I think, with this chart, I think. Okay. So, any questions? Any questions about how warrior scales with gear? Damage equals base times 1 minus armor reduction. Is that how it works? Harold, let me see if that works. So 100 times 1 minus 50. Wait. No, 0.5, not minus 50. No, fix it. I'm sorry, I messed up. 100 times 1 minus 0.50. Yeah. Wait. Oh my god, you bastard. What? Give me a second. Try that again. 1 minus 0.50. Okay. There you go. That's it, right? So your effective health, or your effective damage would be 50 damage against somebody with 50% armor. So it would effectively double their damage, or double their health. Okay? So we could use that with anything. So I guess let's say it's 99%. So 100 times 1 minus 0.98. Okay? So if I have 98% armor, I would do 2 damage, which means my effective HP for 98% armor is times 50. So, okay, now we do 80. Yeah, let's do 80. Yeah, so we'll do 83, right? Okay. So 1. Okay. So 1. Okay. Oh my god. Why is this calculator so bad? Can you start over and do a TikTok video? No. 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 I'm not doing that. Okay, so that would be what? 100 divided by 17. So, okay, that's it. So basically with 83% health or armor, you would have 5.8 times your effective HP. So you multiply this number by 2,500. Okay. So a legendary warrior in the gear that Lich showed me has 14,705 health. There we go. We did it. That's it. That is the answer we're looking for. That is the real effective HP of a warrior in full legendary gear right now in Legacy. That is the effective health pool they have. No, this is not a joke. This is 100% serious. This is the stats that Lich showed me of how much health a warrior has in legendary gear. How am I ever supposed to beat that if I'm in greens? There's no way I'm ever beating that in greens. There's no way. It's not happening. It's never happening. Does it really work exactly like Dark and Darker PDR? I mean, it's a physical armor stat, so it should. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. The only way to kill a warrior that is stacking high physical armor in high gear is with not physical damage. And you're never, ever, ever going to be killing a warrior if you're another warrior, because you can only do physical damage. I will say, there is one singular way that I can think of that a warrior in lower gear could beat this warrior. One singular way, and that's with the Mason Shield. It doesn't say it because Legacy doesn't really tell you things. If you don't know, when a Mason Shield hits you with a heavy attack, it uses it glows red, and when you hit somebody, they lose 25% armor. So, if you use a heavy mace attack on a guy that has 80% PDR, they drop down to 55, effectively reducing their health total by like by thousands and thousands and thousands of HP effectively. That is the only way I can think of that you would be able to kill a warrior at that gear discrepancy, is because of the Mason Shield armor loss. Thousands plural. Many, many, many thousands of health. Yes, is a lot. But you only get 10 seconds to do that damage, and then it goes away too. Good luck hitting the charge on a warrior. There's only two ways I know of that you'd ever hit that charge on a warrior. One is a full chain grab charge. You know, your chain, whatever. It gives you enough time to heavy. The second way is the roar. Those are the only two ways that I know of. Check Discord picture. Well, what do you got for me, Lich? No way. This is purple gear? Ah. Okay. Alright, if you don't believe me, if you don't believe what I'm telling you right now, this is the effective armor of a warrior in purple gear with a legendary mace. Oh, this is you? There you go. That's it. This is purple gear with a legendary mace right now in Legacy. 80% armor. 5 times health. FYI, in case you're wondering. So. I am not exaggerating here when I tell you that the effective armor for warrior gets really, really stupid. However, this is only with really high gear. In greens, your effective armor is only 27%. Green gear warrior is not like that high at all. 27 is nothing. 27 is like it's not even remotely similar to 80. It's not even close. So warriors in like greens, it's not a problem. It's the scaling. It's 100% scaling. Green gear is fine. Blue gear goes to 50%. Purple goes to like 70 to 80. And then legendary is like 85 plus. Yeah, the effective like PDR, it's almost like a 50% jump between two tiers. It's something silly like that. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. It really is as silly as it sounds. Yeah, so if you ever played against a blue geared warrior or a purple geared warrior by some small chance, and you ever felt like they just did nothing but eat every single one of your hits, the reason is because the armor rating and how it scales. That's all. It's not even a warrior problem. It's a gear scaling problem. That's all it is. Can you upgrade to purple? Yeah, you can be full legendary. That 80% that Lich had is purple, not even legendary. Yep, there is, at the moment, there is no true damage and no armor pen. So if you're a warrior and you come across a warrior in higher rarity gear, you probably just lose. Also, imagine if you're in trios and you have 2 warriors in front of you with 85% PDR, and then you have a priest healing them. Yeah, good luck. Good freaking luck killing those guys. It's not even a class issue. You're just gonna get steamrolled because their gear is so good. Not only are they unkillable, but they do more damage and their potions will be more effective. Yep, I mentioned that before too, Zenjitsu. If you have 2,000 health total, but your effective health is 14,000, and I use a potion for 100 HP, that 100 HP potion technically becomes a 700 HP potion, because you don't have to heal you don't heal the effective health. You're healing your total health alone. So every potion is also gonna just make you that much more unkillable. It's super silly how gear scales. Now that said, I have only ever ran in warriors and greens. So my armor rating has only ever been like 18 to 27%, somewhere in that range, which is not that high. It's really not that high at all. It doesn't really start scaling until you get the blues and purples. Well, this kind of leads into the other issue that there's too many people that are duping and treasure room glitching. So blues and purples and legendaries are going to become more and more common by artificial inflation of players basically cheating for that gear, right? You could take down a legendary warrior being a white rogue. I think a legendary geared warrior could just hold shield block and you would never be able to kill him. I honestly don't think you could kill him unless you hit him with a poison or something else. I do not think it's possible. I actually think that warrior is invincible. If he has 85% PDR, there is no way you're killing him. There's just no way. Oh, you forgot the cat. Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. I was gonna say, no way. Absolutely no way you're beating that. There's no way. Not possible. And again, it's not a warrior problem. It's a gear problem. It's a whole different issue. What are they, ban duplicators? I don't know. I've said earlier, I think they should wipe. I think every person caught duping should have their account wiped. And they should just be banned. Or temporary ban them for like a week. And then if they get caught again, just perma-ban them or something. You can farm the sword and shield elite mobs for blues. I mean, you can, but it's not. I think it's a little long. I think it takes a little longer than you're acting like, though. It still takes some serious time to do that. It's the exact problem Tarkov has. Wait, really? When people just bought the best ammo off the auction house, it was simple. Then they made it so you had to find it in game or craft it. You totally understand why they're so stingy about the purple and up gear. Yeah, if Legacy had legendary and purple gear drop at the frequency that Dark and Darker does, where it's everywhere, you would just have unkillable warriors around every single corner. The only reason that warriors do not run around in gear like that is, quite frankly, because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. 4 runs to get the blood shell and the blue armor upgrades. Well, yeah, but you're already talking about blue gear, Alan. The gear that I'm talking about is purple gear and above, not just blue. Blue gear gets you to about 50% PDR. Purple is what gets you to like 80. It's a little bit different. I mean, Lich. Has Lich ever used a gear duplicate thing, exploit? I don't know if he has or not. I don't think he did, at least. At least I would hope he didn't. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. If you have any more questions for me, just say it and I'll just answer when I come back. Let's see. First of all, duping and hacking will never not be in these games. Well, that is true. I cannot disagree with that. So all of you need to turn... Wait, what? What do you mean? ESPN and other programs don't run on the same machine? There's no way to stop people? I mean, that doesn't mean that you can't ban people that are purposely duping or hacking. Did I miss something, or am I confused on something? Maybe I missed something that I'm not aware of. You recognize someone that called you a slur in game? Well, according to the devs, just mute your mic. Just mute your mic. Okay. Anyway, have I talked about everything that I wanted to talk about? I feel like I've kind of discussed everything at this point. Let me fix the... There we go. Fix my camera. What if it's 100% armor? Then you take 0 damage. It's 100% immunity at that point. Oh, here. I'm gonna delete this. Does anybody want this? Anybody want to? This is your chance to take a screenshot. Here you go. I'll give you like 30 seconds if you want to take a picture of the beautiful artwork I made. And then it's gonna be gone forever. All right. I think that was long enough. If you wanted it, you got it. Oh. There we go. Got it. All right. Anyway, fellas, we could do a little bit of gaming. I'm not gonna play a whole lot today. We can do a little bit. If I die to a warrior exploiting or a ranger spamming cyclones, I am probably gonna log off for the nights. And then I'll come back when they fix it. So, I'm just gonna run out of greens for now. I'm not even gonna bother gearing up or anything. We'll just play in this. This is fine. There's an update available? Wait, there is? Oh. Well, I already started my game, so it's kind of late now. What are the odds that I run into someone doing the exploit so quick? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Maybe we can just have some nice casual games. Carlos, it was a dev meeting that kind of went over some of the future of like patches and stuff. If you want to rewind to the start of the stream, you can watch it there. Or you can just wait till the stream is over and watch it from the beginning. It's completely up to you. There's actually 2 double damage bugs at the moment for Warrior, but I am not currently exploiting those. So. Yeah, there's 2 of them. There's a 41 megabyte update. Damn, that's massive. That's huge. That's huge. Jesus. Oh, I forgot to activate my food. I'll fix it. That's fine. Yeah, Priest has a bunch of just perks and stuff that just don't work straight up, so that'll be good to have fixed. Are they just waiting for a March content release for big changes? Well, they said that they want to do a patch every 2 weeks for balance. And I think the last balance patch was over a week ago. So we should have some kind of change here soon. Oh, look. Oh, look. It's an exploiting warrior. I might have to do the cheese to fight this guy. Yeah. This game is just unplayable. The devs have to fix this. This guy's 100% just cheesing, for sure. What a shame. Can't play the game anymore without these people in it, can we? I don't even have shout either. I'm just probably dead, aren't I? I try to get out of it too, and it doesn't matter. Haven't played in a little bit. He actually was not exploiting. He didn't use a single exploit. Alright. That is +1. Whoever this guy is, I applaud you for not exploiting. He did not exploit at all. That's why I won. If he exploited, I would have died for sure. So GG. Thank you for not cheating. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, fellow warrior. Because he really could have just cheated there and killed me. He did not, so thank you. I appreciate it. He died with honor, so there you go. He wanted the cheese? I wonder if he wanted the cheese and he failed. I don't know, but... Yeah, if he double damage exploited against me, 100% I would have just died there. There's nothing I could have done to stop it. I also haven't played in like 2 days, so I was a little rusty in that fight. But either way, I'm glad I was able to. What does the exploit do? I'll show you what it does. You want me to do it against the mob? I'm not going to do it against the player, but I'll show you. Why did I assume that's what he was? Because every warrior I've seen with a two-handed axe has cheesed against me in the last 2 days. I'm not even kidding. Every single one. I'm going to show you exactly what it is. You ready? You hold one. No, I can't do it against it. He's blocking. Hold up. I'll show you against the mob that isn't blocking. I'll show you what it is, since people don't know. There's 2 of them. There's 2 exploits that are currently going on. Oh, this is the shit I've been dealing with for a while. I know how to do it, but I just don't do it because I don't want to. I don't know. I'm just tired of it. Yeah, when I talk about the exploit and being disappointed in fighting it, I'm not exaggerating. It really is like it does get annoying. So I can attack this guy twice. Okay, notice how there were 2 hits there. I did 2 392s because there's an animation cancel that lets you attack twice with the axe, so you do double damage. You're not supposed to, but you can. There's another one. I'll find another mob to show you. Where's it at? Where's another one? Let's see. We'll do the wolf. So if you're fighting another player and you press Q, which is your reverberate on your mace, and you swap to your axe, the damage is doubled for the quake. And if you have like really good gear on, that double is a really big deal. So that's how you do those 2 exploits that the devs are working on. So there you go. I'm not going to explain to you any further how to do those exploits. I told you once, that's it. I'm done. I'm just telling you that I know how to do them. I just don't want to abuse them. That's all. Yeah, the reason there's so many axe warriors is because it's busted and it does double damage. It's really stupid. And if you incapacitating shouts as a warrior, you can full combo with the double damage and you can hit like, I think it's 1600 plus damage or something. It's something stupid. It's a lot. It's a lot. So it's silly. It's all silly. Remove one, another appears. I mean, that's not really a problem, though. Just because another meta will appear when one gets nerfed doesn't mean you shouldn't nerf the broken shit that's not fun to play against. You know? It's like a game of cat and mouse. It should still be nerfed. You missed the dev meet? That's okay. They talked about wanting to patch the game for balance every 2 weeks. Releasing Wizard and I think a new map, hopefully in the next content patch in like late May. Talked a little bit about wanting to do some class balancing and some stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's not like random that all the warriors decided to start using the two-handed axe. It's not like it was completely out of the blue. It's because a lot of them are exploiting. Luckily for me, the warrior was not exploiting, so I was able to kill him. That said, oh, he wasn't even using the right axe, by the way. Yeah, the axe to cheese, you need the Algrim's Rage axe. If you use the other axes, it doesn't work. So that means that guy was not even trying to cheese, so bravo to him. Bravo to him for sure. I like having like fun fights in this game. I just don't like fighting people that are like blatantly, that feel like they're basically cheating. It's not very enjoyable to fight. So. That's why I've been getting a little burnt out on the game at the moment, because I just want to fast forward and wait until and like get the devs to fix it, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. That's all. It gets very tiring after a while, fighting the same exploiting warriors over and over again. Not very fun to deal with or anything. Wait, I have an active meal? Doesn't show anything. Must be a bug. How did I get that epic chest? Oh, it's a paid edition of the game. These chests are only if you pay more money for the base game. Using Deathball? You know, I think Deathball's still good. It's just all the warriors seem to be just exploiting the two-handed axe now. So I just wanted to move on from it. That's all. The Deathball is definitely good, but I don't think it can beat the two-handed axe cheese, which is why I stopped using it. It's definitely still strong. Are keys worth holding on to? Which keys? There's multiple keys in this game. Like skull keys? I think you should use skull keys to craft at the merchant. You can craft treasure room keys with skull keys. I think this is the best use for them at the moment. You didn't get them both and you pay for the DLC? You should message the devs then. Because you're supposed to get a mailbox with the chests. If you didn't get them, you should tell them because it means something went wrong. Yeah. Yeah, I'm at the point where if I fight an exploiting warrior, I kind of have to use the exploit against him, but I also don't particularly want to do it unless I have to. I just want to play the game. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm just yapping. See the inventory picture in general with someone with like 300 legendary shards and materials? I did not, but that just proves my point. Earlier, somebody told me that they almost never saw high gear, so it meant that the duping wasn't that like much of a problem. And yet here we are. I said it would become a bigger and bigger problem as the days goes on. 300 legendary shards? That is just absurd. That is so stupid. Treasure room key? Church of the Woods. Underground is where you can use it. I forgot the patch. Well, what is the patch? Does it even matter if I have it upgraded or not? Does it matter? I don't even know what it is. There's an exploit for warrior. I already explained it, man, a little bit ago. I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to explain it to more people that need to know, because I don't want to fight it. So. I'm gonna respectfully decline on explaining it. Sorry. I know they gotta be low. Honestly, I know that shit. I know he's one shot. Figured. Yeah, at this point, if you're still asking me how to do it, it just tells me that you're trying to exploit it yourself. And I'm not gonna contribute to more people exploiting than is already doing it. I explained it once as a courtesy, but I'm not going to explain it again. Well, if you want to find out that much, I can't stop you. There's plenty of info online of how to do it, but I personally am trying to avoid using it in PvP, so that's it. Trying to also reduce the number of warriors that are trying to do it against me too, because I really don't want to fight it anymore. I'm real burned out on fighting the exploiting warriors, so it would be great if I could stop. You can check my VOD too. Yeah, if you care enough, you can. I can't stop you from doing that. Did they address this during the talk? I don't think they did, but I know the devs know about it because I personally reported it to them and they acknowledged me. So, they know about it. Not really, like, super worried about them knowing about it. I know they do. I gave them detailed instructions on how to do it, too. So, if they want to, like, recreate it or whatever, they can. Do I see myself playing this game in the long term? My initial response to that is yes, with an asterisk. There are other games that I plan to be playing. It's not just Legacy. Midnight Walkers, Mistfall, Hunter, Vault Breakers are a few games I'm looking at playing. Long term of Legacy, I trust the devs to keep making good content, so I'm hoping that in a few months' time, this game is at, you know, in like a good enough state that, yeah, like it keeps me playing. I do like this game, so I hope so, at least. There is no more heat needed on this exploit. The devs are already aware of it. At this point, using or sharing the exploit does nothing but just increase the number of people that are doing it. There is no value to be gained from me sharing it any further. Why would I do that when I already know the devs know about it? There's no value. And I'm just saying, there's... I don't know. That's all I got. I already know the devs know about it, so I already know it's being fixed. You look like you have the same exact... What? You look like you have the same exact expression on my face. You're in love with the game, but there's some defeating shit going on. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I really do like this game. But yeah, like every time I see like an exploiting warrior or a hunter spamming cyclones, like my want to play this game diminishes tenfold every time I see someone else doing it. You're not wrong. As much as I love this game, it sure is frustrating. I did the exploit for one day to make sure, like, the devs, you know, to make sure the devs actually, like, knew about it and it got patched. But after that, I just kind of moved on, you know. I didn't even do it that much in PvP. I just, like, did it mostly against opponents. This game has a lot of potential. I agree with you. If it wasn't for the devs being, like, just feeling like, if it wasn't for the devs feeling so good to me, I would be worried about the game, but because I'm not worried about the devs, I'm not worried about it, pretty much. I'm assuming all of this will be fixed for the next balance patch, so I'm trying my best to be patient. Trying to, at least. Thought I heard a player. Have I run into the explosion arrow exploiters? Yep, I have. Unfortunately. Very annoying. Hunter right now is up there with Warrior as far as the exploiting goes. It's very, very, like, silly feeling. It definitely does not feel great to fight them. The devs seem, like, very level-headed and communicative with the community, so I am hard-pressed to try and even remotely suggest that this game is in, like, a bad spot. It's just, oh man, it's just the work that needs to be done is, you know. Hopefully it just all gets fixed soon. We can, like, move on from it. Show how OP Priest is. Priest, believe it or not, is strong. I'm not super great with Priest yet, but I've seen some good Priests that really show, like, how good the class can be. Being a game developer is very hard work. Yeah, you have to deal with the very vocal and toxic group that comes with, you know, the ones that are playing your game. I could only imagine having to deal with that, but would not sound very fun to me. Is that a hunter? Oh, it's a Deathball warrior. Wow, it's not a holy shit, it's not an axe warrior. Oh wow. Rare breed. No joke. I don't remember the last time I saw a Deathball warrior. I thought everyone was just playing axe. I am very happy to see that I'm not seeing axe warriors that are cheating. I'm very happy to see that. It's nice. Warms my heart. The most recent patched the duping exploit. Oh, really? Oh. Oh my god, there's 5 minutes left. Oh wait, I have gold coins. I'm good, I'm good. Yeah, I'm gonna take the gold coin exit. It's fine. Asshole key. I don't have a lot of time. I gotta figure out what the keep and drop here. Good enough. Yeah, I have 100 gold gold coins, right? Yep. That warrior was gracious enough to give me those. Let's get out of here. But that was fun for him. Why would he fire up the axe? I killed him with a mace and shield. All I did was use a mace and shield against that. I personally think the death ball was still stronger than the mace and shield. I think, at least. Is this game free? No, Callum. It's 25 bucks. Also, I think that warrior got hit by the boss one time trying to run away from me. He got smacked for at least a good, like, 20% of his health. Scary for him. Very scary for him. I don't blame him for trying to run, but I just didn't let him do it. I didn't know that guy could drop the Enchantress mirror. I've never seen it before. Who did I kill? Oh, just a Death Ball warrior. Just some random guy. I was just expressing how I was happy that I'm happy to see warriors that are not all using the axe exploit. So, I was just happy to see that. Wait, did I just get no armor crystals? Is that a thing? What? Where are my armor crystals? What? Did I get 0? That's not fair. That's kind of mean. I'm pretty sure I just got 0. That is... What? That's not fair. Is this game good for new players? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think it might be better to wait. At this point, it might be better to wait a few weeks. If you're brand new to play it, it's really up to you. I think the game is I think the game's a little bit rough to play as a newbie, but you can if you want. It's completely on you whether you want to or not. They don't drop guaranteed. Yeah, I thought you guaranteed got crystals. I was just misinformed. I was just unaware. That's all. I thought you did. Yeah, my mistake. Oh, I should update my game real quick, boys. I'll be right back. Someone told me there's an update. So, give me a sec. You guys can stare at my face for a minute. Here, you can watch my game update if you want. It's not very big. You think Deathball is good against Hunter? I think if a Hunter knows what he's doing, he should never be dying to a Warrior. The ability to Cyclone spam as frequently as they can. I don't really know how you can reasonably be expected to catch up to a Hunter. Because you have a 30-second cooldown on charges, and even if you manage to anchor them down, they'll just fly around your zone while you take damage. And then you can't heal because the Cyclone is constantly hitting you. I'm not really sure how you're expected to kill Hunter as a Warrior if it's a good Hunter and they know how to press 2 buttons. So it's pretty tough. It really just comes down to that Cyclone exploit, though. If the Cyclone exploit wasn't in the game, then it's not really an exploit, I guess, but if it wasn't as strong as it was, being able to be spammed indefinitely, it wouldn't be nearly as... It would be a lot different. Charge does not have a 30-second cooldown. The Horn has a 30-second cooldown. Yeah, so Warrior only has a limited amount, and Warriors cannot be expected to ever get any hits on a Hunter because they're just going to be constantly in the air cycloning. So, not sure how you're really supposed to win that matchup if they know what they're doing. Yeah, the charge itself is not cooldown based. It's not that, it's the Horn. Big difference. I don't know. Someone told me apparently they fixed some kind of dupe or something. Something like that. Does Axe Kill actually increase max rage? Yeah, someone told me that they use that Axe and kill elites with it, and then they get a bunch of extra rage. The thing is, if you want to do the Axe cheese, then you can't use that Axe. I'm not really using it, so I could do it, but I don't know. I just don't really care that much. I'm not really worried about it. I mean, really, truth be told, until these updates come out, I'm just here to play a game while I talk to you guys, pretty much. That's really the main reason I'm here. If I didn't stream, I don't think I'd be playing Legacy right now. I think I would play other games and just chill and wait. I think the game is in a rough enough spot that I don't think I would want to play Legacy until they do some balance updates. Hopefully that comes this week. The dupe was hotfixed, there wasn't an update. I just updated my game though, Jacob. I dashboarded, or I got F4 to do that. Ooh, okay. So we want to kill Ogre. We're already here. I was thinking about going to kill the armorers instead, but we can do this real quick. Does anybody know if it's worth using Mason Shield just to get the bleed proc off for the Ogre? I'm not really sure. I wonder how much damage the bleed really does. Ogre doesn't bleed? Oh, the small ogre doesn't... Yeah, he does. He just bleeded. He just bled. Liar. Liar. He does bleed. I thought he bled. I need to get my stamina back. I definitely thought I dodged there, but I guess not. By the way, I would say it's not worth using Mace and Shield against him. Only 600 bleed is not high enough to justify the reduced damage that you're not doing with the axe. That's why it's taking so long to fight this guy. I should just use the axe. Don't use the mace. Waste of time. Did they change the window for this, the shout? Because I keep getting hit for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, I didn't make any hits, so it's fine. But yeah, that was way slower than it should have been. Because for some reason, I seem to keep getting hit by the shout. And I was dodging, like, every time. He's gonna just cheese me, isn't he? Oh, he's just cheating. I just can't beat him because he's doing the double hit. It's just all bug abusers, man. It's just all that's left playing this game. I feel like I just can't play until they fix this shit. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like he's just doing so much more damage than he should be. He's doing so much extra damage there, man. I'm missing out on like an extra 400, 500 damage. It's just so stupid. All right, I'm gonna just call it there, guys. I think I'm gonna play something else until they fix this shit. It's just unplayable. You either abuse or you just don't play the game. So I don't know. I'm just gonna call it there. I'll see you guys. Have a good night.